Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Brown Water Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
It is Joey Cates. And in the studio, man, we got a great show for y'all this evening. We've got Captain Sonny Schindler from Sure Thing Charters. We're going to be talking about his business, how he got into it. If you've watched the show, you know the routine, but it's going to be a unique story. Glad to have him here this evening. So before we jump into that, we're going to thank the people that keep the heater on because it's cold right now.
It is kind of chilly.
It's a little bit chilly this evening, and I like that, though. Right out of the gate, we've only got weeks left of 2023, but it's still the year to keep your mouth clean. If you looking for a great local dentist, Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man, that's him and his team he's put together. They are located on Washington Avenue in Ocean Springs. If you find yourself in need of a great dentist, give them a shout, man. Book an appointment. You can look him up on the socials. He's at Southern Magnolia Smiles. But when you're ready to get those pearly whites polished, give him a call, 228-215-1202. Our buddy Tyler over at Taylor & Cox Law Firm. Man, nobody wants to find themselves in need of an attorney usually. But if you do, if you find yourself in the need for some great legal representation, we highly recommend
We know a guy.
Taylor & Cox Law Firm, man. They've been doing Pascagoula practicing law for 30 years. If you want to give them a shout, talk to him, have him fighting for you in your corner, give him a call at 228-696-0111. We also want to thank him for sponsoring the Brown Water Banter app. If you don't have it on your phone right now, go download it. It's free. Google Play, the App Store. Put those notifications on. We very rarely even do it. Like right now, I was supposed to send out a notification before we went live. I forgot.
It'll tell you about that hurricane coming this weekend.
So we don't spam you on the notifications either, but we want to thank Taylor & Cox for sponsoring that as well. Our buddy Rocky over at Sea to Swamp, 2 locations now, man. Goshen and Gulfport. All your tackle and apparel needs are covered. He's got you. Shirts, shorts, rods, reels, bait, extra tough boots. He's even slinging kayaks nowadays out of the Gulfport store. So keep it local, man. Keep your money in the community. Go check him out. You can look him up on Facebook. See the number 2 and then Swamp. And we appreciate Rocky rolling with us. Our buddy Kendrick over at Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Look them up on Facebook as well. If you're get a head start on that New Year's resolution,
because those gyms are about to be packed.
They're for about 3 weeks, and then it's going to trickle back down again. But go get some blood work done. Put your care in the hands of a professional, man. Kendrick can take care of you. He can figure it out. He can take a look at your lab work. He can help you get off of the couch. Maybe you need some hormone replacement. Maybe it's testosterone's low. Maybe you're vitamin deficient. Whatever it is, man, he can at least point you in the right direction, and he tailors his care to your needs and to your goals. Give him a shout, 228-363-6623. Make that appointment, man. We've talked to some people out and about that have called him. They love it. They've had a great experience, and they feel better, and they're kicking ass and taking names in the gym now too.
That's right.
So that's always fun. And then our buddy Randy, man, Jackson County supervisor. He stuck with us after the elections. Like I've been telling you guys, he wanted to run it through the end of the year and sponsor the show. So we want to thank Randy for the support and for all he's doing for Jackson County. And I believe that's it, Joey.
Yeah,
I got it, man.
You got it good.
I did it good. Joey's still slinging it out there to the masses. So kick us off, man. Now that are you done? Do you need a few more minutes? Do you need me to filibuster?
Go ahead.
First, just keep going?
Yeah.
All right. So we typically start these conversations, man, your backstory. So born and raised here on the Gulf Coast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Born and raised Coast Trash.
Coast, see, proud of it too. That's what I like.
Embrace
proud of it, man. I went to Hattiesburg for a little while, and they threw that term around, and I was like, if you think you're hurting my feelings, you really just like a pat on the back.
You're bumping me up.
Yeah.
No. Born in Waveland, grew up in the Bay. We got out to Diamond Head in 89 or 90. So, man, I was telling somebody this the other day. We took a nearshore trip from Pass Harbor down to like Heron Bay, Lake Bourne.
Right.
And we're passing all the high schools. And I was like, I went to high school there, Stanislaus, and Bay Catholic's right next to it. I was like, I went there for 6th grade. And we went down a little bit. I was like, I went to daycare right there at Lutheran or Methodist. I'm sorry, Episcopal, Christ Episcopal. And went down a little bit, and I said, man, I went to elementary school right there at St. Clair. And somebody said, you went all through high school and kindergarten on the beach?
Yeah.
I never registered. And I was like, yeah, I guess I did.
We talk about that here on the show sometimes. We take for granted the area that we live in, you probably see it taking people on charters.
Absolutely.
They're wide-eyed to look at a pelican or something like that, and it's like, that's what we got.
We see it every day.
Yeah.
Right.
See it
Well,
every day.
you got to keep that mindset. Like I've lost very little of that. Like I still love checking crab traps and throwing cast nets.
Yeah.
Fishing for sharks. I mean, I like to do it all. But grew up there, and Stanislaus, 2 more of our guides, we did the same thing. We worked pretty much about the time you could drive. It was 15 back then. We worked at their summer camp. If y'all ever been to Stanislaus, it's a gigantic campus.
The Rocket Jaws.
I've been there a couple
Rocket
times.
Jaws,
A couple times. But that's a beautiful area. Diamond Head, past area, Bay St. Louis, of course. I think y'all are the only people that can make Ocean Springs feel nervous about their status.
Yeah. and I mean, they call it Little Metairie because half our town is New Orleans people that have second homes there, and we love them. They're last couple trips were transplants, but yeah, our summers we would live at the school for 8 weeks and sailing, skiing, fishing.
Yeah,
me, Captain Matt did that, Captain Alex, and Matt and I, who's one of my partners in the company. We were
Westover?
Tucson.
No. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how that meant.
We were classmates from kindergarten through senior year.
That's cool.
And then I went off to Southern Miss in Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. And like an idiot, I graduated. Dude, I love that place.
Yeah, I did too. I like Hattiesburg too.
I should, if it wasn't for that salt water being so close.
Same thing I said. Well, I thought it was. I like they have the lake, the big. You got a couple big lakes up there, freshwater stuff, and I was just like, there's a lot of pine trees, and that's cool, and they got mountain bike trails, but I was like, I got the Gulf, I need the Gulf back.
Yeah,
it's only an hour and 15 though, so it's not that bad.
It was fun, and a day and a half after I finished there, I had been working at the summer camp, and then on the weekends, the weekends in Hattiesburg weren't a huge deal.
Right.
It was more a week time.
Yeah, most people went home. Yeah.
Most people went home. So I started my last 2 years, I think, working in the dormitories at Stanislaus. I could make more money there in a weekend than I could, waiting tables. But I still kept a little cockamamie job during the week. Mm-hmm. And then I'd go down there on the weekends. And they offered me a full-time job when I graduated. You just had to graduate.
Yeah.
So I graduated like on a Friday or something, packed my stuff. I was actually studying abroad, and I flew home, packed my stuff, moved into the dorm like 24 hours later, and then started work Monday morning, and did that for 2 years.
What was your job? What was your title?
Prefect. So they have a huge boarding department there.
Okay.
So when I was there, and this would have been fall of 2000. Mm-hmm. I graduated summer of 2000. They were just transitioning kind of out of it was super strict back in the day. Discipline, corporal punishment.
Yeah.
I mean, they wore us.
The good old days you're talking about?
The good old days.
Yeah.
And, I laugh because they got a hold of me a few times, and I laugh mainly because I deserved every bit of it. Mm-hmm. And they only got me for about 10% of what you
yeah.
So they were transitioning out of that heavy academics now, heavy sports. So I was there for the transition, and I had 7th and 8th graders, and you're basically like an RA, tutor, disciplinarian, guardian, but you're off every day from 8 to 3 while they're at school. So you work from 3 to like midnight, and then you get up early, make sure they get to breakfast. We had a lot of international students, a lot of New Orleans.
Pretty much a glorified babysitter.
Yeah. Yeah. I was good at it, man.
Yeah.
I was good at it. And I loved it. I love working with kids and youth. But there wasn't much else for me to do unless I wanted to go back to school or do other stuff. And some of the guys there were really kicking butt. A lot of them got nursing degrees, and a couple of them are traveling the world, man. They got travel nurse stuff going on. But I would usually, as the last kid was walking out to go to school, I was usually behind them with a fishing pole. They have a huge pier, massive pier. And I would walk them out and go fish for a couple hours. Whatever I caught, I'd bring it. It's a Sacred Heart school, so I'd bring it to the brothers' cafeteria, and they'd eat the fish, and they got to liking that.
Yeah,
I bet.
And then you'd sleep or work out, and then you'd start work at 3. And I did that for 2 years. I did one more summer at the camp, and one day we were riding around town. My best friend Mike Thompson, who's senator now, state senator Thompson.
Okay.
He and his wife had gone to A&M Galveston, and they were maritime transportation graduates. Got married super young. They were those friends. I'm sure everybody has them. Those friends that got married day and a half after college.
Yeah.
Still happily married, I might add, and 2 beautiful boys that will outfish anyone you've ever met. He pulled, this was Nokia brick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nokia brick days. He called. He's like, man, I'm right behind you. Going down Highway 603. I'll never forget it. And he pulled me over on the on-ramp to 10. And I think we were like going somewhere together that weekend. You get your weekends off. I was like, man, what you need? I'm going to see you. We're driving, wherever the heck we were going that weekend. And he says, man, he had been running tugs and supply boats and stuff, doing the weeks on, weeks off stuff. And then he was trying to find something to do with his weeks off. So he had a bakery, and the bakery was crushing it. And I think a few other little things going on. He's like, man, I want to get, a bay boat and get into this charter thing. Nobody's doing it over here. And there wasn't much, man. There wasn't much going on. This would have been spring of 2002.
Damn.
Yeah.
That seems late for no one to have been doing it.
Yeah.
They were. But nothing like now.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple boats.
Yeah. So, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was up to renew you had to renew the contract every year. I was up to renew it. I was making what I thought at the time, a lot of money, 0 bills. Everything was covered. And I just, kind of waiting for the next big thing. And I, like all of us, grew up fishing, loved the water. And I'd kind of missed the boat. My brother had gone to a maritime academy. He had gone to Kings Point and traveled the world, but he went maritime business. Yeah. Mikey went maritime transportation. So, my brother's doing phenomenally well, but he wears that suit. He doesn't have to pull hitches on ships or anything.
Right.
So we just right there on the side of the interstate. He's like, I think I could do this, but maybe, and the plan was, while I'm on a hitch, you run trips. And then when I get back, I'll run, and we'll grow it.
Yeah.
I was like, God dog, that's a really good idea. And Mike's super duper smart, book and street. But so then I had a few months before the semester ended. I went and got my Chapman's piloting. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. And had a few other friends taking this route. So they were a couple months ahead of me doing sea school and that whatnot. So they were helping me with whatever I needed help with. And man, if anything, because see, I had study hall with these kids. I had sometimes 3 hours in afternoon and evening of study hall, and I was just crushing.
Oh yeah.
Well, but prior to that, I was, reading 3 or 4 books, maybe not 3 or 4, but 3 on a good week, 2 on a normal week, big books. And I was just everything, reading that Chapman's every day. And if anything, I studied too much. Because then stuff started mixing, and you know what I mean? Because the thing that I crushed at C school was plotting, because I didn't do anything plotting. And that whole time I learned it all there. And that was the best thing I did. But then I went into C school that summer of 2002. And one thing I remember before I went, one day I left when the kids went to school, pretty day in probably May. And I drove from Bay St. Louis to Ocean Springs. And I stopped at anywhere there was a charter sign. And anybody that was there, I'd stop and say, hey, my name's so-and-so, and, I'm going to get my license. And man, I was early, mid 20-ish age. And and, college degree.
Yeah.
So you were rubbing elbows. You were networking early.
I was trying.
Yes.
And not one of them. Not one. There's one that let me in the salon, and the guy sat me down, and I think he's still working. I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah.
But I know he was pre-Katrina. I haven't checked up on him.
Mm-hmm.
He sat me down, and he said the same thing that the guy from the Beau Rivage. Remember the Beau Rivage used to have that barge out at Chandelier?
Yeah.
So I was trying, I was trying to get on.
I
was trying to get on that thing, and both of them said the same thing. They're like, "Man, what are you doing?" I was like, "Man, I want to take a swing at this. I'm young. I don't have kids, not married." And he's like, "Where are you running from?" I was like, "Man, what?" I'm trying to get a job. You know, it's freaking incredible shape, young, and he's like, "You won't make it a week." I was like, "Man, I love to prove you wrong.
Right.
Give me a shot.
Give me a shot. Stop chopping me down."
And I know one thing. I mean, I know that bow ain't there anymore. That thing went down to Venice. It's a Sportsman's Lodge now.
So we worked there 2001, 2002, and they would dock it right next to the boat. We'd look at it all day long, just sitting there.
Yeah.
So, and then we'd watch them pull it out. It was a cool thing.
Yeah.
We never got to experience, of course, because we were poor college kids at the time.
Right.
So,
but so I did that. I got a door slammed in my. Now the problem also was I was looking for a charter job in May. That really isn't the best time to be. Most decent people have their deckhand.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, that's prime time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I probably had 20 of them tell, "Man, we ain't looking, don't need it." And whatever. I mean, I don't mind the word no.
Yeah. From what we've gathered, the old salts, it was a harder game to get into back in the day than it is now.
Yeah.
For sure. Because it was, I don't know, I guess you could say territorial. I guess it was. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that comes into play down the road because we got one of them old salts.
Yeah.
That came with us, and he's a big part of what we are today. But so I went to C school. I went to the original one at Tillman's Corner. Did y'all do that one?
I went to Bayou La Batre.
So this was old school.
I don't have mine.
Yeah,
He's got it.
Okay. And I'm sure you made some friends there.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Good guys.
I still talk to a couple of the guys I paired up with, about 4 of us. Bought a boat from one.
Yeah.
And as I'm coming back from Tillman's Corner, I think it was July of 2002, shortly after the 4th, I'm coming back, and I had many guys from our high school go into guiding. Rimmer was a couple grades below me. A couple guys that work with us went to Stanislaus. A lot of the Venice, not a lot, but there's many guys in Venice that went to Stanislaus. And a guy that was a grade ahead of me, he was working on a boat down there, or just getting started. And he called. I was coming like across the state line or something, not far from where we are. This place is unbelievably far from my house. I'm going to give y'all hell for that.
Yeah, you told us that. Thanks for making it dry.
If anybody wants to send some gas money,
tip it in the comments.
Yeah.
What? I had to check my watch, see what time zone y'all are on.
Exactly.
But he called and he's like, "Man, can you bring me to this guy's house?" They didn't want to leave an extra vehicle in his driveway. And when I went and picked him up and brought him there, the guy who owned the boat was kind of pinching the phone, and he's like, "Hang on one second." And he's like, "Can you go to Venice for a couple of days?" I was like,
"Yeah,
hell yeah, I can." I mean, when I say nothing going on, nothing. That was all I had going on, was bringing that guy to that house. I had nothing but going to beg for work, and no boat, no nothing.
Right.
So I had all my stuff, from staying over at C school. So we just jumped in the truck and went down there. And dude, I've never been like offshore, never seen tuna, never seen marlin, none of that. And didn't even know where Venice was. I knew river and close to very, very
the
deep
end of
water.
the earth.
I up until then, I'd caught a few red snapper and a cobia or two. And
that was it. Yeah.
I got there, and like the first couple days we were there, I don't know if y'all kept up writers, like Pete Cooper Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He used to write for Saltwater Sportsman. He was kind of the Gulf guy.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up reading anything with that guy's name on it. He was sitting there at the cleaning dock, and I was just goo goo gaga.
Yeah.
I mean, and years later, the guy that trained me when I was down there, they were good friends. So I got to actually come to know him very well. He's a great man. He just passed away a couple of years ago. But so we fished, had a ball. I just, that first time you see that blue water and the flying fish. And
absolutely. Most people don't get to see that.
And the sheer
it's an experience.
It's an experience. The sheer size. When you try to tell people we fished under oil rigs, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and it's the sheer. It's like take a skyscraper and go throw it out in the middle of the Gulf with helicopters and these ships. And
right.
It's just, if that's your thing, it will suck you in, and it got me instantly. So
you were deckhanded at the time.
I had nothing. So I was a guest of a deckhand.
Oh, okay.
They just needed people. Everybody was backing out. And so the guy next to them in the slip was Captain Scott Avanzino, who at the time owned Paradise Outfitters.
Okay.
And it was a one-boat operation. They lived on the boat.
Damn.
And those who know Scott, he's brilliant, out there, but like fun crazy. Like he is just zany, red line, high energy, and can kill and catch anything. He's just one of those guys. And just kind of bumped into him, and he's like, well, we're always looking for help. And I was like, man, I just got my license 24 hours ago, whatever, waiting on it to come in. And he gave me a shot. He let me try a few trips, and I was green, learning everything.
So he let you captain, right?
Oh,
right
hell no.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, holy moly.
Oh, no, deckhand.
Yeah. I was about to say, wow,
God,
that dude really had some trust in you.
Yeah, no.
That would have been bad.
That would have been terrible. But I wound up cutting one of my thumbs damn near off on a king mackerel a couple trips in, and it wouldn't heal. It got all nasty and gross. So I had to come home. And then their season kind of started slowing down in the fall and the fronts and all that. And what little money I had saved up, I mean, I was like a couple weeks from having to move back home. And I love my parents to death.
Don't want to move back in.
I don't.
Yeah.
And not, I would in a heartbeat because I love them, but they've done so much for me, till today. I mean, they help with our daughter and dogs.
Yeah. You don't want to go back to freeload.
I don't want to freeload.
Yeah.
So I was renting a little place, and it was like a week or two. I was like, all right, if I can eat bologna for one more week and do this. And Mikey was still doing the offshore stuff. And I wound up, because he didn't start shore thing until 2003. So I wound up jumping on a tugboat for the winter. And that job is what built Taylor Reef.
Okay.
We were demolishing the Jordan River Bridge and bringing that rubble out to
Gene Taylor. Yeah.
So loved the work. It was fast paced because you were moving cranes and material, and it was very fast. But they had a boat that did trip work where they would either take the rubble from the bridge to bring out to Taylor, or they would take an empty to pre-stress across Bay St. Louis. There's a concrete yard there,
right? And
they make the pilings for these bridges and whatnot. But either run took all day. I didn't like that. I wanted to be doing something and working. And I like the guys, the guys I work. They're fun as crazy. A lot of them had just got back from like a bridge job in Russia.
Yeah.
So they had all kinds of crazy stories you can imagine. And
that's a young man's game.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah, but I was young, man.
I'm
still
young,
in great shape. And I got on that trip boat one day with this just guy, and he was one of them just old salts, and not a good one. There's some cool old salts, and then there's some just
yeah.
And we it was one of them northwest wind, low tide, full moon, the worst.
A foot of water everywhere.
Yeah. And this, big tugs, they're drawing 3, whatever. I don't remember the measurements or the whatever, but we were 2 or 3 feet below what we could get across light boat, empty. And he knew it. I knew it. I mean, everybody knew it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they gave those orders. And he said, come on, we got to go get a load of pilings. I'm like, man, I'm not being difficult, but
Right.
this is a very bad call, and you know it. And I was calling him on it. He's like, yeah, about, we're going, blah, blah, blah. And whatever. And we get to the bay and bury it. I mean, it's mud. We didn't hit anything.
Right.
And sat there all day.
Mm-hmm.
Cold, windy, and he'd get me out there with the stick, and go check it. And
Sounding.
like it came up an inch.
Yeah.
It's going to come
Yeah,
up.
We're going to be here for another
inch,
24 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 24. We were there all day. But while we were there, Scott called. And he's like, how fast can you get back here?
Well, right now, not very fast.
And look, I eyeballed that shoreline, man. I was like, I can make it. But he's like, no, that company's been good to you. They got you through a rough patch financially. So I think I worked a couple days more. And they were. That company, I still see that guy every once in a while that ran it, and he's a super nice guy. But he said, come back for the weekend and then go back, maybe work a week or two, finish out. And I went that weekend, and I never left. I stayed. So I stayed there from early winter. That would have been now 2003. And I stayed till Katrina. And
About 2 years, year and a half.
Yeah. So we did a little bit 2002, came back for the winter, early winter 2003, all the way till 2005.
Oh, so a little more than 2 years.
Yeah. And then I went back. Well, then we had Katrina. So I stayed here and did the demolition and hauling for
Clean up.
Did that till September till April. And then I did April again, 2006 till September 2006. And the whole time I was there, Mikey did he was spearheading the demolition. Man, he had equipment and people, and man, we had a good thing going. And I always joke, the most money I've ever made chartering was after Katrina and after the oil spill. But
FEMA and BP money, baby.
Right. We were rolling.
Yeah.
But he was steadily growing this, and there was one other guy down in Bayou Caddy. I can't remember the guy's name, but he had folded or quit, and he'd kind of thrown a few bookings Mikey's way. And Mikey's good. He's just really, really good. They had an awesome marina there up until Katrina. It had opened in 2003.
Bayou Caddy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Islander Marina and dry stacks, bar. I mean, it was hopping. And Mikey was steadily stacking. He'd call, man, you coming back? I ain't coming. No, I was loving it, man.
Yeah.
We were running all these crazy boats and doing all this. I was with a very, very good company at the time. I mean, they're still, top tier company down there. Tons of great friends that are still, I stay in touch with pretty regularly. Seeing all these marlin and gigantic snappers and groupers and whale sharks and all this crazy stuff. It was just awesome. But Katrina kind of took a lot of steam out of me.
Right.
I'd gotten engaged to my then girlfriend. We dated about 7 years, so I kind of had to do my business.
Had to get in or out.
Yeah.
Get off the pot.
Yeah.
So I'd gotten engaged 2006, right before I went back to Venice, and we got married 2007. But I'd come back and started work with Mike. And the best part about this is, so I come back fall of 2006, green, man. I mean, I grew up here, but the type of fishing we do with short thing,
Totally different.
Yeah. And you got to know that marsh. All we knew, like everybody, Eel of Pete, and 9 Mile. Well, you got to get inside there and learn all this.
Good luck.
And Mikey's brought up tough. And he was like, look, on the days we're fishing together, we'll just stay on the radio and we'll figure it out. On the days you're not booked, go fish. Go get lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Figure out kind of where you going, where you go, watch your tide, go get lost. Find somebody. Y'all had him on your show. Johnny Marquez?
Yeah.
He used to come with me all the time back in the day.
Heck of a fisherman.
Oh, he was fantastic. And a lot of that stuff we learned together. He was just like, where are we going today? I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. I've caught fish. I know I caught fish over there, and this bank looked like this, and this pond was draining into here. So I'm going to go try and figure that out on the map and see if I can duplicate it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd find something that Mikey didn't know, but Mikey knew a lot. He learned that marsh very, very quickly. And you never learn it, but he learned a large portion of it.
Well, the marsh game is just weird, just driving it. Because I know down at Hopedale,
It's terrifying.
I mean, you see bay boats and hitting crab traps and oyster shoals. I mean, you run the ground. 2 feet is a difference between you running in a channel and hitting a crab. It's crazy.
Learned the 2 feet over thing the hard way.
The hard way. Yeah.
But so I'm working with him a couple month or two. Months, probably no more than 2-3 months. And he's like, man, who else can we get? Well, my classmate and dear friend Matt Tusa, same thing. He had been working on a chandelier boat with one of my dearest childhood friends, who was my neighbor, Brian Guyon, on the Southern Way, which is now the Southern Magnolia. Brian wanted to stay on the big boat. Matt wanted to come in. He same thing as me. Just got married, started having babies or trying to have babies.
Trying to come back home. Yeah,
you need to be home at night. So he comes on, and Matthew. I mean, the joke is, if somebody, when you tell them Matt's available and they want to go with you, you just say, all we're doing is going to fish Matt's spots. Because that dude, he is a trained killer.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable in any arena, near shore, island, marsh. So Matt just kicked it up. And what also helped was when he was on the Southern Way, they would anchor that boat in Bayou Biloxi. So he spent all winter
in the marsh,
in that interior, that tricky spot. So there were plenty of times we'd go out there and scout, and all you were doing was just running in the mud because you couldn't tell it from the aerial imagery. And he would tell you that pond's garbage. That's 6 inches of water. Yeah. That one's deep as hell.
He's out there. Yeah.
So that sped things up very quickly. Well, and everybody gets along. Everybody grew up together. Well, Mikey just comes one day and he's like, y'all got this. I'm going to law school. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
What? So he had a cool place on the Jordan River. Keep in mind, this is shortly after Katrina. Man, there's no hotel.
Everything's tore up.
Dude, there's no restaurant. There's no casino, nothing.
Barely even ramps. Yeah.
The worst time in history to try and get into this game. So luckily, we were pulling a lot of people down from Jackson and, Natchez.
I'm amazed that they would come down here at that time because they knew.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was so bad.
Bay St. Louis, that area got hit bad.
Direct hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I read somewhere that Waveland was like 90% uninhabitable, and we the little area is Bay St. Louis, Waveland.
Right.
We would meet at a gas station on Highway 603 because your phones the towers weren't up.
They were all tore up. Yeah.
So you couldn't go down there and launch. Oh, it was a total disaster.
Yeah. That's a great way to start a business.
It was, but it made you
appreciate it.
It was tough. You were tough. And it just got slowly better.
So where were y'all launching?
So either anywhere, Bayou Caddy, La Francis.
So those launches were still operable, I'm guessing, after the storm.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Washington Street. I don't remember coming over the pass for a long time. Man, there were times we'd leave, off 603. You can't guide north of the interstate, but there's a few launches right there in that area. But
I think somebody's robbing us.
Yeah, it's fine.
I heard
it's all Justin stuff out there.
Yeah.
So we got
JJ's
JJ's
here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We didn't know if it was a robber.
Yeah.
No. All right.
Too loud for a robber.
Yeah. Yes, you were.
So shortly thereafter, when Mike went to law school, and he crushed law school like he does everything. We got our old salt. We got Kyle, Kyle Giroux. He's from over this way in Orlando, wherever the hell we are. And he grew up with Jay and Kenny and all those guys.
Oh yeah. Biloxi guys.
Biloxi guy.
Yeah.
So he grew up with a bay boat, and he had a mothership. He had the Bakuna.
Okay.
But he had literally decades of experience. Back then, man, this wasn't going on. There wasn't. I think maybe MySpace was up.
Yeah.
And you had music on your page.
Yeah. And Mike Lane's Rod and Reel, if y'all remember that. That was it. And then LouisianaSportsman.com.
Yeah.
Years later, they started with Mississippi Rod and Gun and then MississippiSportsman.com. That was it. So and then when we got Kyle, man, it just stratosphere. We moved quick because he's like, we need this writer, we need this show, and we're like, whoa, how are we going to do this? He's like, call them, tell them it's free, they're coming, bam, 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 and then it was like, what are we going to do during the off season? And I think I went back tuna fishing one winter, and I think I tugboated one winter, but then we just started. We're like, look, we got to be all in, so we started going to the sportsman shows. And I mean, we would do Birmingham, Jack. I think Mikey may have gone to Houston, but we did a lot of North Mississippi, North Alabama, and it was funny because you would go to like the big one in the Superdome or Gonzales. I think we did that one year.
These are trade shows or something?
Sportsman shows.
Yeah.
The best one was that one they had in Jackson, the expo or whatever.
Yeah, it still goes on.
But it's in the summer.
Right.
And you would have to justify it. It was like, look, 4 guys, I think it was 4 of us in. No, it was 5. Kenny had come on. But it was like, all right, we're missing possibly 15 trip, expense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So y'all are just faces passing out cards to these people in Jackson.
And you had to, and the funniest thing was explaining to these people there's salt water at the end of Mississippi. I mean, it was so tough selling this because all they knew was, Shell Beach, Hopedale, Venice, Cocodrie, Grand Isle.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we catch fish here,
we got speckled trout here.
Yeah.
They exist. And, we started doing well. Well, then Mikey sells the camp. This is how we got Kenny. So Kenny Shayu was our main competition, if you will, friendly competitor. We traded a ton of work back and forth because we were kind of the only ones doing that dual state thing.
To where y'all run in Louisiana and come back. Yeah.
You're only 4 miles from the Bayou Caddy launch.
Yeah.
You're 4 miles south, 7 miles west of the state line, and then you're kind of pinned in. But so Mikey sells the old lodge when he's trying to get through law school, and he's like, "Man, y'all got to go." It wasn't anything. Get your stuff and go. It was. You realize,
it was
I'm going to need this money.
Yeah.
So we're like homeless or boatless, boat homeless, and the boathouse down in Lakeshore. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but this place, unbelievable. So Sid LeBlanc has this giant facility down there, and back then it was a fraction of the size.
But that's Louisiana, right?
Almost. It's Bayou Caddy.
Okay.
Lakeshore, Claremont Harbor.
Okay.
It's down by the Silver Slipper.
Okay. Yeah.
And there was just a few stalls available. And he's since expanded it several times over the years. It's massive now. But we got in there, and then we had the best mechanics 10 feet from our boat. Eventually, Ronald Lee got Lee's trolling motor and power pole. So we've got one-stop shop. I mean, our guys are in tree stands right now in North Mississippi calling in, going, hey, can you fix that running light? Or my power pole was leaking on my last trip. And
he just walks across the street and do it, yeah.
I mean, literally from here to our trucks is how close our boats are. And they take exceptional care of us, fair price, quick work. We love them. Been with them since, I think that was 2009.
Yeah.
We'll never go anywhere else. And
I tried to get him on the show, and he told me about the same thing you told me. It was like an hour away from my house.
Oh, man. Yeah. They're worth it. They're great.
Yeah.
But then once we got Kenny has this gorgeous piece of property down in Bayou Caddy. So now we've got a private dock. Things are going well. I mean, like Matthew and I married, got babies coming, and then 2010, freaking Katrina comes. I mean, we were rolling. Bookings were fantastic.
Oil spill.
Oil spill.
Yeah, I was
dog it.
I was going to correct you, but I was like,
did
he mean to say 05 or did he mean to say
I always mix them up. Yeah.
Oil spill.
Yeah. So,
oil spill. And man, we went and, you start hearing these rumors, man, they're going to close the Gulf. We were all fishing the day it blew. I used to fish that rig, the Deepwater Horizon, when I was in Venice. Like, it moved around all the time. And it was very fishy. But so we keep hearing these rumors, man, they're going to close the Gulf. Man, we worked up until the day they closed it. And then it was like, what
do we do now?
What now?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. So we started getting calls, we knew we were going to be okay. We knew there was work, more concerned about if they were going to open the water.
The fishery, yeah.
So Matthew and I, so Kyle and Kenny went and worked, on boats and islands doing the bringing
BP
people
stuff,
out, BP stuff. Matthew and I went and worked for like the BP's legal department. So we went and did inspection work. We were like insurance adjusters.
Right.
Man, I freaking loved it.
Y'all probably raking it.
I wouldn't say raking. Like, I had friends that literally became millionaires.
Oh, yeah.
Spillionaires, as we call them.
Spillionaires.
Deservingly. They busted their hump and got real creative with their business plans and did very well. It was the most money I think I've ever made in a year's time. Definitely light years more than I ever made charter fishing.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Got to travel around. Our any boat. Did y'all do the Vessels of Opportunity?
I put mine in, didn't get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now I went and got my card, everything. Went and did all the safety stuff at the community college, everything like that. Got like 3 phone calls and then never heard anything back.
So had you?
It was probably you.
Yeah. No.
He got your job.
We didn't do any of the
call
hiring and firing.
Right.
So if and when your boat got the call, you had a few things to go through, and we were one of the things.
Like, had to
come
get,
by and check,
make sure you had all your safety gear and all that stuff.
You'd photograph it, and that way. And there was a lot of people that got dinged up and broke boats, and and they'd come back and be like, and we would come, and if they'd say, oh man, this guy ripped his motor off, and then you'd go and check, and you're like, what kind of motor is he asking for? And it was like, hey, he wants a 300, and he's like, well, he had a 15 on it,
right?
I was like, gonna go fit on a 14-foot John boat,
dude. The stuff we saw was unbelievable. Canoes, I mean, and they would hire them.
Rednecks are gonna redneck.
Yeah,
that's right.
And look. They paid them. Some people got greedy. It was kind of the Blazing Saddles line is like, folks, we got to protect our phony baloney jobs.
Yeah.
And I was just like, look, guys, nobody's curing cancer here. Just go run out there, make a loop and come back. They're going to give you money.
Yeah.
And, but after that is when things really took off. So we've got me, Matt, Kyle, and Kenny. Everybody's got a little money put away. I had so Margot was born in 2009. I think that's right.
That's your babies?
Yes. I only got one daughter. So, she was born right before the spill because I'd go and get close jobs so I can come and pick her up from daycare.
Right.
So during that is when we met Dr. Don. He delivered my daughter. Dr. Don and Katie Gaddy own the house on Cat Island.
Yes.
And it was terrible. My wife would go in for exams. You have kids?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So a pile of them.
Okay. Y'all know what goes on in the exam room?
Oh, yeah.
It's
So all that's going on. And we're just like, if we get a couple kayaks out here and we could put up a live bait system, and she's just
and
like.
your wife's showing the world.
So we're friends with both Heather goes to Johnny too, right?
Yeah.
We go on, like, he's a friend. So like we go on vacation with our wives' OBGYN.
It's weird.
It's super weird. I got some very vulgar jokes that I've made. I won't say them on here.
Yeah.
No, I fish. I call him my doctor, my gyno, and so we're trying to figure that out. Oil spill hits. I mean, we were like getting things started, so we kind of had to start all over again, and so that would have been 11-ish. We started getting out there. That was when the old mayor was alive, Walter. Did y'all ever meet the old mayor of Cat Island?
No, I've heard stories.
Oh, man. He was unbelievable.
What a cool place to be a mayor of, though, right?
Yeah. Self-appointed.
Yeah.
No,
and his running joke was...
I create an army.
Yeah. His running joke was, I'm the mayor. I've won every election, but if I don't vote, I lose. So, he's the only voter.
Yeah.
So Walter was out there, and I think the first year and the cool thing is the first group that booked, we still have the booking. They still come.
Nice.
So
what year are we at now? Or then, I should say.
So 10 was off.
Yeah.
We all went. It was either 11 or 12, because I think 11 we
Close
had
enough.
11 we had to get all our permits, and that's another thing, the permitting thing. So we run a few trips, and we've got a lot of folks that we work with, friends. I mean, I went to Southern with Jamie Miller. Jamie Miller was the director at that time. Knew of each other,
right?
And we're working a few trips, and a buddy of mine calls. He goes, "Man, I heard y'all are doing those overnighters and this and that, and let's just say this and this happened on a trip. How would y'all handle it?" And we're like, "Well, we'd keep this or do that or not keep this." And he's like, "You need to come in and talk." And I was like, "Oh God!" So
this could be good or bad.
So like float plans and stuff like that.
So float plans and transporting fish.
Yeah, across state lines.
Well, clean fish too.
Yeah.
Look, I'll be honest with you. We were doing some dumb, unknowingly stupid stuff.
Right.
And those guys and girls up there at DMR saved us
a lot of fines and probably jail time
when they didn't have to. Right. So we're forever in debt to them.
We know the executive director. He's actually sat in the same seat.
I know. I saw that on there. Yeah. Mr. Joe's great.
Super cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice guy.
And he took the torch from Jamie, and he's been a huge help. So they sat us down. So it was Miller, I think Keith Davis was still there, a room of them. And they're like, "Look, good news, bad news. Bad news is y'all are breaking a couple, not a ton, but enough
that we got you sitting in this chair right now.
We haven't caught you on it, but we're pretty sure you're breaking this, and this."
Because at the time, y'all were the only people doing overnight trips in Mississippi waters.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. So he says, that's the bad news. Good news is there's no laws for anything you're doing because nobody's done what you're doing.
Right.
So we got to sit down and put these laws together. Now, from that meeting till the time we got our cards, you get these transfer permits. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they're called. I just renewed everything Monday.
Yeah.
They had it overlapped Mardi Gras and then something. So it should have taken like 2 weeks because I had to go to Jackson and back.
Oh, yeah. About 2 months.
I think it was more than that. So we had to bring all the fish in, do all this. But now with the float plans and the permit and all this, we no matter how many, and this is for anything you do, no matter how many days, you can stay out there a month. You can still only have 2 limits a person.
Correct.
At all times. And we weren't crossing over that because Kyle, basically from running that chandelier boat, he kept us as close as we could. But we just, like they said, y'all didn't know because there's no thing in place for what y'all were doing. And thankfully they stepped in, saw, we were just young and naive and inexperienced. But it was cool. We have a law, we have a permit in place that we can,
that y'all wrote. You should have named it.
I know.
Yeah.
I should have named it. The dumb idiot, Cat Island. So we got that going. And the first couple years of that, every year you 2 or 3 more, 2 or 3 more, 2 or 3 more. And couple years after that, Kyle hung it up. He just retired, and we learned so much from that dude. Just, how did customers, like, you're going to get this. You probably won't, because I get it. I've gotten it less and less every year, but this is early 2000s. You'd get the call, hey, man, we coming in from where, and we bringing the dancing girls,
Yeah,
you got you got a problem with that?
Yes.
And so look, this is before.
How many you got?
Right.
Look,
What they look like?
Keep in mind, this was Nokia brick days.
Yeah.
Not everybody had a high resolution camera. Yeah. So I called Kyle the first time I got it. I said, man, this guy's talking about bringing
Dancing ladies.
Dancing ladies. Cabaret on the boat. And he goes, tell him to bring them. And look, Kyle's a family man, Christian. I'm like, you serious? They ain't never going to bring them. He said, I got that call every month on the Bakuna. You know how many times they brought them? Zero. He said, tell them to bring them. And he said, at least you may get the booking out of it.
Yeah.
He said, and then if they do bring them, just tell them to go pound sand, do whatever.
Yeah.
And they never did. But just stuff like that, and the little nuances of the boat, bring one of these, bring 2 of those. But when we lost Kyle, we started bringing, we brought Alex up from Venice, and Alex never got that offshore out of his system. I was so done with that stuff. I think a part of it was I was there before. Venice is kind of hopping now with all
it's rolling. Mexican Gulf, they're rolling.
But the
it's shut down with oil. Is that oil spill still rolling up down there? No, they got it covered.
But the amenities, like when I was there.
Oh yeah, well, they got a dollar store, they got a daiquiri shop, they got all kinds of stuff now.
If you got back to the dock and the marina was shut down,
so you ain't eating.
So we would always take what was called the captain's cut of like an amberjack or a tuna, that little corner in the back of the head. You might have to go back in the fish pile and get it. So you'd eat that night. It wasn't that. I mean,
it could have been that bad.
But we were sleeping on boats. I had a very nice, 30-year-old trailer. My last year I was there.
Y'all were in Venice Marina? I
lived in Venice Marina the last.
So Venice, we're not Cypress Cove.
Yeah, Cypress Cove's relatively new.
Cypress Cove is 2010.
No, it was there when I was there. It was pretty swanky. It was nice.
It's like it's the hills.
But Venice I hadn't been to Venice in forever, but they definitely didn't have the trailers we had when I was there, man. It was
no, they're high class now.
Yeah.
Well, they're pulling in there with 46-foot Freemans. Yeah, and, it ain't the same Venice it was.
But they, I also went and worked there after Katrina. So that would have been April of 2006 to September. I mean, water and power were issues.
Yeah.
And it was, the fishing was good, but, I knew I was getting married. I just proposed to her literally the week before I came back to Venice. So that was weighing. Mikey's calling constantly, man, when you coming back? When you coming back? It was time. I was just, had Katrina not happened, I don't know if I'd be here, sitting next to you. But Alex, he went and did 5. Alex went there like right at the oil spill, just a couple months before it happened. So he was there for like a year making crazy money.
Right.
And then he did another 4. And same thing. Man, y'all know what the coast kind of, it gets in you. Man.
You can't get away from it.
You can't get away from it.
Once you get hooked, you're done.
And same thing, all the tuna and wahoo and mahi and all that stuff. It's awesome. But I'm telling you, if Venice, Louisiana was like in Long Beach, the whole nation would change.
Correct.
The only thing I think that's keeping Venice from, the best and worst thing is how far it is to get to it.
Right.
Nothing is convenient.
Establishments.
Right. And the fishing is just so everything.
Yeah. Well, we've had a couple guys here that are on the Mississippi coast. I know Josh and Joe running tuna trips. They're like, well, would you rather stay in Venice in a trailer, or would you rather stay at the Beau Rivage and have your feet up every night? You know what I'm saying? You might pay a little bit more in gas. It might be a little bit longer ride, but it's the same thing.
Well,
and you can get there.
Yeah.
And so Alex is our offshore guy. He eventually, so he bought Kyle out, got his boat, did that for a little bit, then got one of those little tide lines.
Right.
It's not little. I mean, it's 23, 24 foot boat.
Mm-hmm.
He was stretching that thing out. And Alex is a pretty smart dude. And I think he realized, he was biting
in the wrong category.
In the wrong category. So he kept it for his nearshore stuff, inshore, marsh, but then he eventually picked up a big old yellowfin. So he's doing that stuff.
So he's under the same umbrella, sure thing.
Yeah.
So y'all have an offshore boat, and then what? The rest, 5 or 6 guys are inshore?
All
are
Alex
inshore.
is in, all of us, like nobody, man, we're all getting old.
yeah, it's a beating for sure.
We can relate.
Yeah.
We took you're a Nessus?
Yeah.
Can't even say nurse.
Yeah. Close enough.
We took one of those pain management doctors one time and took her to the island. On the ride out, she was kind of asking me something, and I was like, yeah, this is blown out. 2 of these are
knees are jacked.
And she's like, oh, here we go.
Right.
And I was like, well, but we're going to have fun. I can work through it. She hopped in Alex's boat, and they ran out, to Chandelier. The kids wanted to catch something big. And typical, beautiful going, rough as hell coming back. She rolled off that boat and had to be helped upstairs. And she kind of put the hand on the shoulder, and she goes, if you ever need pain management,
you come see
you
me.
let me.
I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. But so then we started grabbing, we started getting bigger than we could handle. So we got Darren, and I think I got the order right. We got Darren, we got Ray, we got Jimmy, and then we started absorbing people. Keith was a friendly competitor, Blue Line Charter, and Keith didn't need us. Keith hit the ground running when he got here. He had an unbelievable set of friends from Tylertown and Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
He hit the ground
rolling, yeah.
But we started trading so much work, and then we, everybody started hunting and fishing together. And he's like, I like what's going on here. So he just kind of joined with us. Shortly thereafter, Paul with Southern Comfort, and Paul's calendar was full. Paul does not need Shore Thing for one single thing other than they're all buddies.
Right.
So, and he doesn't have to answer a phone. I'm surely he does, because his customers have been with him forever. But so now we're up to 10 guides, 11 boats.
Dang.
So the umbrella company is Shore Thing. So when they call, it goes directly to who? Or when you go to book on the website, does it go to Shore Thing and then you divvy it out to whoever's available at the time?
More often than not, with the exception of Brian we got last year or so. And like I was telling you before the show, 2 of our guys technically are
weekend warriors,
weekenders.
Yeah.
But we need them.
Right.
We need more. But they're cool with that, because if they were to come during the week, it may be, we may not quite be there yet. Maybe during the prime summer months. Yeah.
You're talking about enough trips to pass around. Yeah.
But our main guys, me, Matt, Kenny, Kenny's year's done. My year's done. Matt's done. Alex, between his big boat and his insurance. So most of our guides have been with us minimum 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And usually after that 5th year, you're kind of, as long as you're halfway sane and
grandfathered in,
you're kind of on cruise control.
Right.
It's just an issue of being a good guy, if the fish are there, we're going to catch them. But in between, you have to be civil and courteous and polite.
Right, get along.
Show up early, stay late, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you can't guarantee fish every time.
No.
But you can guarantee a nice experience from, like you're saying, if you got a good guide.
Sure.
Right? You know, you can joke, laugh, point out things that people can appreciate.
And you'd be blown away these stories you get. Like, I always kind of joke about it. You telling me that you fished with another guide is like my wife telling me about an ex-boyfriend. Like, I'm pretty sure there were some involved. I don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this guy did this.
Right.
This guy did that. Yeah. We don't care.
But the you hear the good stories, you hear more of the bad ones.
Oh yeah, usually a good review goes unnoticed.
Well, you're probably not going to see them if they had a good time.
Right.
But you hear, this guy, showed up smoking dope and cussing at my wife and pushed my
coming back to that.
Yeah.
right, push my kid out of the way to get a 12-inch speckled trout. It's like, geez, how did this
Amateur hour.
set the bar low, which is nice for me, but
Right.
if that stuff really doesn't bother me a whole lot, but if it's within our region, Biloxi to Waveland, that hurts because I'm big on showing them a good time on the Gulf Coast. If you show them a good time, they're going to go to the Bow. They're going to go to the aquarium. They're going to come over to our side and eat at Shaggy's or the Blind Tiger. Mm-hmm. They're going to find me. And vice versa.
Yeah, we're scratching each other's back.
Show them a good time, build the brand. That's a big thing we are with Shore Thing, that brand. We don't guarantee. We started off back in the day, just that L word, limits.
Yeah,
and, and numbers, and we caught 41 specks and 17 whites and 2 flounder, whatever that number was. That creates a certain type of customer.
Well, expectation.
Yeah. Right.
Correct. Yeah.
We're back at the dock at 7:30 with 100 trout, whatever.
And you don't always want that meat hauler.
Mm-mm. And now that the coast, especially our area, Pasco, Bay, St. Louis, Waveland, Diamond Head, is. Have y'all been over there lately?
We were over there when we were over there at. We went hunting over there.
Yeah.
We weren't on the coast, but we were at what's the park?
The Lil.
No, Buccaneer.
Yeah,
Buccaneer. But it's been a few years.
All right,
Yeah,
our dock is almost walking distance from there.
Okay.
We're in between kind of there and the Silver Slipper.
Okay.
But the second home market, the hotel, the Pearl Hotel in downtown Bay St. Louis, it looks like something off South Beach, Miami.
It's beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Y'all got Airbnbs down there now and
Out
all
the
that kind of
wazoo.
stuff,
Yeah.
VRBOs or whatever. And I've looked into it. They're booked.
Yeah. Oh, no. And people will call me and say, me and my wife just bought this property. Can you help us book it? I'm like, I can help you, but as long as y'all keep it clean and it's in a halfway decent neighborhood,
It'll book.
if you can make it through this
Right.
first year, you will not need me for anything.
We got invited to the Pirate Fest.
Yeah, Pirate Fest.
Yeah.
Day
We
in the
didn't
Bay.
make it because we had something else going on, but I've heard it's a big to do over there.
I tell you, man, and our Mardi Gras, that probably my two favorite parades for family parades. You come to this one, Mystic Crew of Seahorse in downtown Bay St. Louis. There's like 200 golf carts in it. It's insane. I think there's one float in it, like legit
This is all
float, because
golf
it weaves through the downtown, so you can't put the big double deckers on it. But it's all the people we grew up with, so the kids just get bombarded.
Right.
And then the next day, so I think that's usually Monday night, and then Tuesday is Diamonds, and it's the marching parade, and it's my favorite.
So we usually get back in my younger days.
Oh yeah,
we go to the Pass Parade. Pass Parade's kind of gets kind of salty.
That's the
over
first
there.
time I ever smelled mace. Was at a Pass Parade.
It gets good. That's as far as we go though. But it's weird thinking that's. For me, that's the same water and the same coast that we fish in because we just don't ever. Now, I fish Pass, coming out of Long Beach, coming out of Pass, going to Illapete, going to Cat Island and stuff like that. But a lot of people this way never done that before.
Yeah. But see, like Robert Brody.
Yeah.
Guy's my hero. Love the guy.
He's in the works.
Okay.
He'll be here sooner than later.
Whatever you're doing, figure out how that guy. If there's anybody on the coast that fishes more than that man,
He's
I'd
a
love
back bay surgeon. He knows every lodge, every ledge.
but he can fish
anywhere
in 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Right.
It ain't fun.
Yeah.
Like in east or west, we can hide. South kind of crushes us. North is doable. But that guy, there's times I've texted him, 35, 40 knots, or maybe not that much, but
Y'all leaving the dock at 35 and 40 knots. Y'all got some.
He fished today. and caught, because he's transplant now because D'Iberville launch is usually where he's at.
Right.
He's in Brittany, where we usually launch.
He's launching over at Brittany.
It's St. Martin. Yeah.
But like him,
8 sheephead, 2 flounder, 3 redfish. It's every trip.
but him and Mikey Adams.
Yeah. He's in Fort Bayou.
Mike's fantastic.
Yeah.
But see, that's it doesn't I guess where I'm going back with this, with going with the limit and being back and doing this, if we would have taken the model we have now and it's a reason why we don't have an online calendar. Everybody that calls, sure thing, I want to pick them apart. Who you bringing? What's their health like? What do you want to do?
So you're the person answering the phone?
We rotate. Today it's to me, but I forwarded it to Matt.
Let's make sure there's some proof behind that. Let's look that up.
So y'all are kind of like on call, like doctors.
Oh yeah. Then we were at the island. Like if I'm working an island trip and I'm going for a couple days, I'll forward it to somebody on land because I can get a signal out there. But the thing about Cat Island is we tell everybody that books out there, your phone works as good as you need it to. So if you want to disconnect,
I'd like to throw it in the marsh.
yeah, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
But so what we're doing now, we would take people to go slaughter trout that could give a rat's patoot about trout back in the day. And we'd come in with whatever, box full of trout. And they're like,
I don't want them.
yeah,
What do you want me to do with it?
that was awesome. My kid would have been fine with that shark you cut off.
Yeah.
So once we started picking them apart, there's another good guy that I used to do some fisheries management work over in, I think he's in Gulf Shores or Orange Beach, Troy Frady. That's a guy that would do fantastic. But you have to fill out like an application.
The questionnaire. Yeah.
And I don't even think that guy even has to answer the phone ever.
Really?
He's so good at, my daughter wants to catch a blah, blah, blah. And my wife's got a bad leg and, I get seasick and he will and it's kind of what we do. And we will put that trip together based on what you tell us.
Right.
We can go out there and kill a bunch of fish. If it's legal and they're there.
Right.
And
We'll kill them. Yeah,
let's go kill stuff. But, we're all for just having a good time. And you'll see if it, umpteen years from now, you kind of keep these people that keep coming back. And I mean, my calendar's filled with my partners.
Your regulars.
It's my regulars. Yeah. And one text, hey, 5:30 tomorrow. Great. Boom.
Got it in the book.
And I'm still on that phone and email all night, but at least I don't have to put on that tour guide hat all the time.
Right.
It's nice to take it off every once in a while.
And just be a captain.
Yeah.
And just be a captain.
Just be real with people that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's people these days have a pretty good filter. Salesmen, they're going to pick you apart pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the inspiration we had with this show is we take all these charter boat captains because you can call a guy and be on the phone with him for 20 minutes and then you got to get on a boat with him for 4-6 hours. He might be just a total prick and you don't even want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So when you sit him down and put a camera in front of him and you talk to him a little bit, then you go to our website and say, well, let me see what this guy's got going on. Then you book a trip off of that. So
it's funny because, we'll have overflow.
right.
And we have a list of folks that, like a lot of the past guys I was telling you about, the Ronnie. We trade a lot of work with Ronnie Daniels, Grand Pass,
Yeah.
Brennan's a fella. He's been on your show.
Yeah.
Fellow Rocketshaw.
Right.
But you'll call and I hate it. I mean, it burns me up to hear it, but you'll say, look, we're booked. A friendly competitor of ours is booked, and they'll say,
A friendly competitor. I like.
What's his name? And you'll go, so-and-so. And they're like, nope. And they're like, he's the reason we're calling you. And we've had it where they didn't, you didn't think to tell them who it was, and you sent them back.
And they get down there and be like, God.
But most of it always revolves around communication. You got to.
Yeah.
I bet that's a little awkward though if they're like, you're like referring them to them, like, no, we hate that guy. That's why I called you.
Right.
So maybe
here.
I don't like you now either.
Yeah.
Why are you hanging out with that guy?
And it happens, and it's the worst freaking and you don't do it knowingly.
Right.
Like, I'm going to show
yeah.
these people.
Yeah.
I'd love to not have their business again.
Right.
But it's funny stuff.
Yeah. So where's home base? If you had to call home base.
To me, it will always be Bayou Caddy.
Okay.
That's the world headquarters.
Right.
That's kind of where we got, Mike started it there at Islander. It's just cool. It's not as sexy as the Pass Harbor's sexy, man.
Right.
It's
You got Shaggies, all
Yeah.
that stuff, but those are y'all's boats too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So we've got 4 in the hoist there. And Rimmer, Rimmer has been so fabulously good too. Rimmer and I used to work in Venice together.
Yeah.
Another rocket chaw.
I sent Rimmer a text. So Rimmer, if you're listening,
Man, he's like a Sasquatch.
yeah, I know.
He's hard to pin down. I guarantee you that guy.
He did one of the USM things, the fishing camp,
Yeah.
Cat Island fishing camp that we went out there and filmed, and he was supposed to come on us, and he in like last minute he's like, yeah, man, I got some big deal going on. So I was like, all right.
Yeah. And
But we're still open, remember, whenever you want.
greatest guy you ever wanted to meet.
Yeah.
He's just hard to pin down.
Mm-hmm.
And Thomas, Blind Tiger,
Mm-hmm.
that guy. We have a billboard on the side of the Blind Tiger in Bay St. Louis. We do the catch it and cook it.
Right.
Game changer.
Oh, yeah.
Total game changer.
That's one of those things you can offer the customer that's not, hey, we're going to limit out every time and kill a bunch of fish. Instead, it's that experience. You can catch this fish, we'll clean it and cook it, right?
Right.
And that's just as important, even to a local, in my opinion.
We went with Mr. Mike.
I do it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. We've done it.
We went
And I
on
like
the little lugger right there and did it, and went to
filling station.
filling station. They
Yeah.
fried it up. Dude,
Who, Mikey Moore?
yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we're locals and we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
It was like,
I did it twice during Thanksgiving.
We breed the whole family out there.
Yeah.
There's 10, 15 of us. We catch 20 white trout.
Yeah.
Fry. There's nothing. And then they were fit. They were swimming 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we do it. We let my little nieces or nephews walk it through the door. Well, some of them are bigger than me now, but
Right.
we try.
Yeah. Walking with the big 2 bags.
Big bag
Yeah.
of dead fish, man. They love that stuff. But so we've got that going now with all these second homes and Airbnbs and the Pearl and all these Baytown Inn, all these cool places
Y'all
to
are
stay.
rolling.
Well, it's a group effort. I mean, the town's rolling.
Right.
We're just showing the people that come here a good time. So hopefully they'll come back. And that's how it works. You can't have one without the other. If there aren't cool places to stay and cool places to eat,
And cool things to do. They're
and
not
cool
coming
things
back.
to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's one hand washing the other.
You may have already answered this, but I'll ask again. It's like when with the way you, how many boats you said y'all have?
11.
11 boats
Yeah.
total in the fleet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How did y'all get that together? Was it because y'all are all friends instead of making it 11 competitors that maybe friendly shared contacts back and forth, but not really came together under one umbrella?
I think when we got Kenny is a logistics savant. He is just brilliant. He can take a schematic or a menu or an agenda and figure out the easiest, most efficient way. Well, prior to when we had the old lodge on the Jordan, we were trading so much work and we were kind of using his dock here and there. And we're like, man, we don't want to use his stuff. And man, it's cool. Throw me a trip every once in a while. Blah, blah, blah. When we got homeless, we had to call and we're like, Kenny,
Begging, yeah.
we're going to need somewhere there was nowhere to clean fish.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody got along. Kyle was still with us. Him and Kyle are still good, but we're all still good buddies, but him and Kyle are very close. And one day we're just hanging out, doing something. He's like, hey, why don't we just join up? It's stupid. We're fighting for the same piece of meat. He goes, I hate working on that phone. And at the time I was kind of manning most of it. He's like, you seem to be good at it. Why don't you do that? We'll all work together on the shows. Y'all help me, keep the property up. And that kind of worked. And then we started getting bigger and bigger. Well, when we started bringing the other ones on, it was like, look, you kind of pass the interview or the initiation, whatever the heck we're calling it.
Yeah, blood in, blood out.
Y'all jump them in.
Right.
Yeah.
Brand.
I know what you're saying.
Yellowstone.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was like, if you come here, Yellowstone.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna die. Not that's a terrible analogy, but
No, keep it going.
You're short.
You're loyal.
Yeah.
You are going to be a sure thing guide. If you want to go help out Grand Pass, you're going to go work for Grand Pass that day. Every picture you take, every contact you make, that belongs to Grand Pass. That is not theirs. That is not yours. You worked for them that day.
Yeah.
And they're going to do the same for us. So we kind of got a really good system going, and just got really good guys that feed off each other. We've got people that have fished with us since the early 2000s that I've never really met. They've stayed with Matt since day one. And I've got people that will not fit. When you call and they say, what's the next available day you got? I'm like, 3 months from now. We'll take it.
Wow.
Like, I've got a guide available tomorrow. No, we won't go with you.
Yeah.
Very flattered.
Oh, yeah.
That's part of the experience.
It
It
is.
really is.
Yeah.
I've hunted in Texas 2 different. What did we get 2? No, it was 1. No, it was 2 times. Yeah, at Bar and J.
Yeah.
And we just became friends with the guy who owned the place, and it's like he's part of the experience now.
Yeah.
I like kicking it with him. He's a good guy.
And most that's half the battle.
Oh,
Hanging
yeah.
out with a guy that you want to hang out with, or a guy or girl. It could be a girl, a guy that you don't want to get on a boat with somebody who's just like, get on a boat. Don't
don't scuff my boat.
Yeah, take your shoes off.
Do we have
don't do this.
any gals?
Yes.
Guide?
We got to get Angie on the show.
Annie's been on the show. Yeah, she's here.
No, we
She's
got to
in
get her
Biloxi.
on the show.
Yeah. Yeah,
Where's she working?
she's running out of Biloxi Sports Fishman.
She's running Biloxi Sports.
Yeah, Andrew was in the comments earlier. Whitman.
Oh, yeah.
He said you were a legend.
I fished with
We
that
were
guy.
talking so much I didn't get to go through the comments earlier, but we had a lot of people.
We did a show together a million years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good with the video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's way better than what we are.
he was on Keesler. I don't know if he's still out there.
No, he's not.
He's not out there anymore yet.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Yep.
He's running over here, huh?
Yeah.
He's running out of Biloxi. He's probably one of the nicest dudes.
Yeah, he really is.
Did he move from the small? He's in the small
He's
crowd.
on the small craft. He's on the front row.
He's Black Dot?
Black Dot.
Yeah.
There's so many dots.
Right.
Jason Dots, Black Dots. But yeah, he's.
But
he's like
I would love to get what y'all have over there, over here. Yeah.
We've been talking about that for a while now. Captain JJ's off to the side if y'all didn't hear this earlier. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Figured that was
Yeah. We did give you the rundown on that. But no, I think that's kick ass to me. Like the camaraderie, everybody looks out for one another.
Our guys, it's
I'm sure
really
it is
hard to find, and our guys are very different. Like when I play my music at we got the surround sound speakers at the Island House. Kenny will just about rip my head off. It's NWA and Run the Jewels and
NWA. Come on with it. Let's
I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
Women for sure that would be.
Yeah.
But and then Kenny comes down and it's all Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings.
See, I like that too.
But see, I like him too.
Yeah.
He just doesn't like mine.
I got you.
And then Matthew will come on and he plays all his bluegrass and all this stuff.
Can hang with most of that.
Yeah.
But our work ethics are very similar. It's everybody gets to the dock an hour early, minimum.
Yeah.
And if somebody's got to stay late unless it's children, if you got kids to deal with, everybody's staying late.
You're pulling your way. Everybody pulls their own way.
And we've rebuilt that dock at Bayou Caddy, I think half a dozen times after storms and hurricanes. Everybody goes down there and swings hammers.
Joey usually asks this question, but can you explain to me from when they book the trip or call you to book the trip? What kind of options do you have? Do you mentioned, are y'all still doing the overnight stuff?
Yeah.
Walk me through the different things y'all got?
So we've got,
From just a basic inshore to whatever you offer.
yeah, you could do anything from a 4-hour, what we call Mississippi nearshore, all the way to a 3-day Cat Island overnight trip.
Okay.
In between there, we do birding. We're getting really good at this birding.
Like sightseeing for birds?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He's being serious.
Really?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Look.
You thought he meant like watching birds to fish? Like search following birds?
Like you said, watching birds, and I was like,
No, he said birding. Yeah, that's
birding.
Right. Yeah.
You take people,
are you serious?
Pelicans.
my man.
Is that a
if
secret?
You take anything from this sit down,
Yeah.
Water turkeys.
birding.
Birding.
Look,
So I need to update my website.
I mean, inadvertently said it earlier. Like people,
it's on our website.
well, we take it for granted though. Like I said earlier, like riding through just the channel, and you see a pelican, right? Like
and the
I don't still really. I see it. I'm like, man, that's why I'm out here. Honest to God, that's why I'm out here.
And the funny thing is, like when we first started kind of training with the Audubon Society, and we're like, bring them to Cat Island. We show them ospreys,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, we got ospreys on land.
But you know what's cool? That he's telling the truth, because the last charter I ran, I went down Seaway Canal, and there was a bald eagle flying around.
Oh yeah, JJ's telling us about
were
it.
like,
He-
stop the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, JJ ran a charter,
Yeah.
and they saw a
But,
bald eagle while he was running ashore.
Matt ran one last week. There's what's the rare Limpkins are in right now. I'm not.
I don't even know what that is.
So it's some. You know what a clapper rail is?
No, not a
Clapper
bird
rail.
guy. Not
All
a
right,
bird
it looks
guy.
like a kiwi. They're in the marsh.
I
If
know
you fish-
seagulls. I know pelicans.
So
Bald eagles.
it looks like a kiwi. Anyway,
I know the fruit.
so
It's a little bitty one.
but we bring we'll bring them out, and whatever you think is the coolest thing, you're like, here's a sometimes they get excited about nesting pelicans, but those shorebirds, the ones that run back and forth,
Yeah.
you'll run out there and find the congregations with like 500 in there. They're really good at Cat Island.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Cat Island's one of our hot spots, and we're like, this is, and they're like, yeah. And then they'll bring the big Swarovski binos out and the spotting scopes.
And they're just watching them.
And look, I'm like, what are you writing
taking
down?
notes?
Yes.
Well, they're tagged. Those little birds that are as big as your fist, they've got these little itty bitty, not all of them, but
They're like a banded duck.
like a banded duck. And
Yeah.
they'll figure out, okay, that one was tagged here. But I kid you not.
Yeah.
But the spoonbills are big birds. The oyster catchers.
The white pelicans move in about right now.
Yeah.
Well, the pelicans aren't the big money birds. Matt and I joke, a bad day birding's better than a good day fishing. At least in the charter
Oh
business.
yeah, no doubt.
Never had a bad birding trip.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
thousands of birds.
JJ's mind is blown.
Yeah.
Are y'all in like birding
Digest?
Facebook groups or something?
Yeah.
Like how are you getting these birding people?
So
Word of
another
mouth?
guy,
Word of mouth?
another guy, y'all need. This guy's kind of our godfather, Robert Smith, not of the Cure. The dude's like, lumberjack. He does not look like Robert Smith.
Burley.
He's the one that got us and kind of brought us into the birding realm. The most brilliant woodsman you've ever met in fish, turtles, reptiles, amphibians,
Just
birds.
a naturalist.
He is a gem. He is a treasure to the state. Robert Smith.
Really?
We need to get him on. Send him a message if you don't
He
mind.
will, whatever batteries you got on, he will wear them.
Burn them up. Huh?
Yeah.
He is the man. So he introduced us to a lot of the right people, showed us a lot of the right areas that were sought after species. He would ask us.
So y'all are bursting this. You're not just saying, "Oh, that's a woodpecker." You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what you're looking at.
I would assume the customer probably knows more than you about the birds. You just need
Almost
to know where to
always.
take them. Yeah, exactly.
But Robert has helped us. Like when he's been with us enough that he'll be like, "Look, go if you can, get somebody to run by that spoonbill rookery, see if they're nesting." And look, they're the real deal birders. They know.
When
It's
they're
on your
gonna be there.
website. I was looking at your website.
not-
to see-
I'm-
I know you're not lying, but I was going to say, well, it ain't on your website. It's on your website.
So they know when they're going to be there.
I'm going to share this too. While we're,
Dude,
y'all keep going.
when the fallout happens, y'all know about the fallout?
Yeah.
In April?
Yeah.
You'll be out at the island, at Cat Island, and look, the house is booked with birders. People spending very good money on these overnight trips. You will be sitting there, and when it happens, it is the wildest thing. You'll be sitting there, and a freaking orange bird will land on your water bottle. And you're like, what is this? And they'll come out and be like, oh, that's a...
They got them up, yeah.
Yeah, those are ibis and spoonbills, oyster catchers.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a little bit of a delay as I click, but yeah, I'm gonna go through them. But yeah, I mean, it's on their website. I mean, it's legit.
So so you're showing pictures of a frigate bird now,
Yeah.
or mini frigates.
Well, see, you know the birds now.
Yeah. Well, these are kind of the...
Well, if you know what frigates are fish. If you know what frigates are, there's fish. Yeah.
So, but all the stuff you're seeing in these pictures, if you're a birder in...
Ducks.
that's a duck.
Yeah.
But if you're a birder in Jackson, Mississippi, you are never, ever
Gonna
see that. So you got to come here.
So there's your draw. There's your
check that out.
That's a beautiful bird. No, that's not a
a
flamingo.
spoonbill.
Yeah, it's not a flamingo.
You saw the
But
flamingos that were in Pascagoula, though.
There's your customer there. Like, it looks like she's training to be a sniper.
Yep.
But she's not. There's no gun involved.
No, and once you get the basics of it, and I think I'm just getting the basics of it. If that, it is almost like hunting without bullets.
Yeah, that's
It
what
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Looks like
Yeah,
he's about to.
he's fixing to go.
So I need to update. We need to update our website.
Yeah, John, look.
I'm telling you.
Oh shit! You got
pretty sure-
Joey and JJ now. They're like, holy shit!
yeah.
Like
No
that.
tackle, no rods and reels.
You don't have to get a dirty boat.
Oh,
nothing.
look.
Yeah,
And all I got to do is go to Deer.
just
Yeah, we throw it-
Deer Island. I mean, how exclusive? How far out? Are
Y'all just, but they got it made in Cat, though. They
Yeah.
just go to Cat.
Cat ain't
we
that
go-
far of a
we go
ride
to the
for
marsh.
even still.
Okay.
The most of those are from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Some are from.
Spoonbills, probably Port Fourchon, because
Well, no, we have several rookeries in the Biloxi Marsh.
really,
Look at
Huge.
That photo's going to take a minute for it to come up over there, but I mean, I'm assuming these photos come from your customers that are on your website.
100%.
Yeah, these are. Look at that. I mean, that's a beautiful bird.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of weird looking. People that's listening on the audio, you have to go check that out. You have to watch the video
Roseate.
or look up spoonbill.
Roseate
Damn, it's like
spoonbill.
it looks like a flamingo with a
Spoonbill.
spoonbill.
Weird they named it
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward or odd that they named him that.
Do what?
you know what makes it pink? I do know this.
The iodine or whatever.
The iodine
Yeah.
shrimp that they use.
So they all
Yeah.
eat shrimp.
Baby shrimp, and that's what turns it pink.
There were some flamingos that flew into Pascagoula.
Look at this guy.
a couple weeks ago. That dude's got a camo.
I mean, he's got camo
Yeah,
on his
but
damn
look
lips.
behind him. That's a rookery of skimmers. You know the skimmers that.
Yeah, those look familiar. Those look more familiar.
Yeah.
those birds.
Man, that's kind of near Illapete.
So what is your like mindset when you're on the boat? Just get him there and let him do his thing.
Mhm.
You like pull up quiet.
Most of the time, like we've been doing this for several years
Yeah.
now. The regulars, like us, like if you say, "Man, I want to catch a flounder," I know what time of year
Mhm.
they kind of sort of should be running, or I want a big triple tail.
Yeah.
You know, kind of
You're not going to go inshore and throw
February,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they know general, and then we've got boats running non-stop for the most part under decent weather.
So you got scouts.
Scouts, and
Yeah.
they'll say, "All right," and then we know usually
Look at Chris Barlow up there. He
Yeah.
thinks he's a bird man.
Yeah,
Chris
no,
Barlow
he's
thinks
cool.
he's a bird
Yeah.
man.
They got,
I
we
love
got
that
Dan,
guy.
Dan's been in the comments, and
Oh, Sam, thanks
Sam.
for tuning in.
Yeah,
I sent him a message earlier and told him it's Speckled Troop was supposed to have
Oh, yeah.
a show tonight, and they canceled. I was like, well, we got a show, too, that's coming
Yeah.
on.
Barlow that kid's amazing.
How old is Chris Barlow?
he's younger than
He's
us.
younger than
we're,
me.
We're
He's
40.
young, and that kid is on his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just talked to him the other day, and the dude.
He sent me a picture. He was cutting
get his
out his
boat?
boat. Yeah,
Did he
he's
get his-
cutting-
Did he get his new boat?
He's got it. And he's got his rainbow. But that kid is like, he blows my mind how sharp he is.
Yeah, he's a doer. He's
Yeah.
kind of guy.
Hey, you know what's crazy? His brother is a freaking astronomical engineer. So he's a rocket scientist.
Pretty sure that's not how you
But
say
see,
it, but I know
I-
what you meant. I know what you meant.
This too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as much as it pains me to say it, you know, I guess he's kind of the next generation.
Well,
I-
they are. He's 27, 28, so they are.
So a
Those
guy,
guys coming up are.
I don't think he's that young.
No,
is he?
he's older than that.
Yeah, he's in his 30s.
So,
yeah.
Chris, how old are you?
Yeah.
You're watching the damn show. If you'll share it.
Chris probably 35.
36 years young.
Yeah,
you just
he's
said it. There we
36.
go.
all right. So
JJ thinks you're 27, so just go with that.
he's
just roll with that.
but guys like him, we got one over in Bayou Caddy, Justin Ladner. He's what I hate the term, but nobody escapes time. Next gen, they're the next
gen. They're the upgrade.
Brennan's kind of in there. Josh Ellis, another Rocketshaw.
Yeah,
he's in there.
I think this year's hitting the most with that.
But it's there's some good ones coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I like Paul. Paul's Paul. If you told me Paul was 51 years old, I'd have believed it.
Old soul, you mean?
Yeah.
Paul is. He is young. He is young.
Yeah.
And he's just having babies, isn't he?
Not sure.
I think he is.
I don't know. Yeah,
That'll age him.
but he's advanced too.
Yeah.
He's the only bay boat that's in Mexican Gulf Fleet.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that we've I don't know if you learned or whatever that we talk about on the show every time we have a guy like you on, that you talk about the next generation, the up and coming guys. Though I think the needle is moving away from the meat halls and the limiting out thing, and I think social media hurt it a lot, made it bad, and then all of a sudden through guys like Speckled Truth and we mentioned that all
Release
the time.
over 20.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were like, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. This ain't working, I don't think, for the fisheries. And it seems, at least to us in our little narrow scope of the world, that I heard you say it earlier. It's like, let's not just catch all we can catch. Let's make it more about the experience and try to preserve what we have.
Now, I can't speak for him, but I know for me on my boat, I don't want those meat hauler guys.
Right. Well, he said the same thing earlier. JJ's talking about he doesn't want the meat hauler guys.
Those guys walk on the boat.
Yeah.
They go, man, I got meat in the freezer from last year. Let's go catch another 4,000 pounds of snapper.
No,
Yeah,
we don't want
I mean,
that.
not unless you're like a
And
prepper and you live off your.
And what's
what you
crazy
catch,
is
but-
we watched it. We didn't watch it, but I've seen it through Captain Kenny and Captain Jay,
right,
and they're throwing 15 to 20 cobia on the box. You know what I'm saying? At one
different
trip,
mindset, different time, different availability.
Like Paul and I were talking about this. It's changing times. When I talked to Paul last, we were like, man, people used to smoke in hospitals.
Right.
People were smoking in the ER.
Nobody had seatbelts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing we're getting real passionate about is tagging.
Yeah.
I was trying, this falls on me. I didn't check with Miss Diane before I came. Man, I had a day last week. Because, see, the cool thing is, more often than not, you're tagging your stuff you throw back.
Yeah. Your dinks.
More often than not. I mean, it's awesome on those days where they want to tag everything. Those are my favorite days.
Right.
But it was either like 41 or 42 rat reds.
No way.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Are you doing USM Research Lab? Is that what you're going through? Yeah.
And Miss Diane is, man, she's on point. Like, I've sent her so many emails out there, and like, I'm running low
on tags.
I'll be out tomorrow, and the next day, a big batch of tags comes. Yeah. And being able to track the movements of them.
Yeah, and then when they recatch them, and then it shows your name on the certificate, and that's cool.
But it's like your bird people.
Yes.
Wanting to know where all the birds been.
So, but more often than not, they're not going far.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Especially those rat reds. They're born in the marsh. They're going to circle around. Yeah.
They're gonna come back.
Every blue moon, you'll get one. Like, I've had a few go to Florida, few go to Alabama, few go back and forth from Bayou Caddy to Cat Island. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the triple tail obviously are gonna.
They're gonna go when it gets cold. They're leaving.
Migratory fish is just like a cobia. You tag a cobia in Destin, it's gonna pop up down here.
Oh yeah.
But once it gets cold, it's not coming around here. It's going back. It's going south.
No. But that's something, a little treat I can give you, because I don't like nagging customers. Book now and save 3%, whatever.
You just put it out there. If you want to do it, let's do it.
I think our product's good enough that it sells itself.
There you go.
Yeah.
I stand behind it. My guys, and I don't mean like my employees, my friends, my partners, my guys, put on a good enough show that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with that is, and I agree with what he's saying, how many Ferrari commercials do you see? And how many
I like that.
Yeah, JJ said, how many Ferrari commercials do you see?
But
Right.
the tagging thing, when they get recaptured, Miss Diane sends you the
It's like a trophy. It's a certificate. Yeah.
so they send you this PDF, and it's name, date, blah blah blah, like a banded duck, and I just send it to the angler from that. You got them from the date and the name. I know where they are on my calendar. Some of this stuff comes from 2 years ago.
Right.
You send them that. Man, that's the greatest thing ever. Thank you
they
so
probably
much.
frame it or do whatever they want.
Man,
with
we're
it.
coming through in July. Can we book a couple days?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you can.
I mean, like,
That's
if you had a blue
awesome.
marlin,
Yeah.
I tagged a blue marlin in the Gulf, and that fish was caught again in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
tells you anything. Like, I had a retag in the Bahamas from a blue marlin that was caught in the Gulf.
JJ
Yeah.
said he caught a fish
Blue marlin.
blue marlin in the Gulf that
Yeah.
was tagged in the Bahamas. Yeah, they travel, and I guess some of them, like you were saying, different species have different. Some reds don't leave far, and then some do, and some like their own little
triple tail
personalities.
cobia that leave. So
Yeah,
well, I wanted one last thing before we get out of here, and if we got anything else to say, explain the difference between y'all being so close to Louisiana Marsh and Cat Island to where y'all can pump on the other side of the Louisiana compared to what we got over here in Biloxi. We got Ship Island, Horn Island, stuff like that. Whole different ball game with the trout, right?
Yeah. So, and especially now, they just changed
Right.
the limit on the 20th. Got to fish the day before.
Do you think that's good?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Louisiana.
I'm
change.
all for
Well,
conservation.
see, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people over there saying it's not. So I don't.
Man, my last
I can jump on that.
my last trip, we had 2 people. We kept 30 trout, and we could have kept a pile of gigantic sheephead and perfect size puppy drum. They just wanted trout. We got back, and they were like, "What are we going to do with all this fish?"
Yeah, that's a pile of fish.
60 fillets. If you are charter fishing for groceries,
Yeah.
Probably in the wrong
Yeah.
business.
go to what's the good one over here?
Go to
Quality? What's
Yeah.
Quality
Just buy it. It's
seafood?
cheaper.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
cheaper.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know Jacksonville or wherever the hell we are.
I think it's funny.
It's not even Mississippi.
Well, no,
anymore.
what's funny is he's named Orlando and then now Jacksonville, which are to the east, and we were to the west of you.
Yeah.
No, I'm west.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
You're past
Yeah.
Sam. Yeah,
But
yeah.
but the same thing is we don't know where he fishes. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
I've been to Illapete, been to Turkey Bayou, been to
But
all
it's
that.
a hike from here.
Well, it's a hike from here too. To get
Yeah.
over there.
No, that's
it's
what I'm
worth it, though.
saying.
It's worth it
This
over
is far. It is
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
So the state line stuff. So all of our boats and guides are licensed in both states. You know this. Mississippi licenses the boat,
Correct.
and Louisiana licenses the guide.
So the Louisiana people still have to buy a Louisiana license to go with you.
Louisiana charter passenger license or have a valid Louisiana saltwater license.
Correct.
It's called a
Usually a 3-day charter trip.
3-day, for the most part, non-resident charter
Yeah.
passenger license. It's everything keeps going up over there. I just did all my.
It's nuts, but I know a guy that's going to get it under control.
Well, they're getting back at us because we charge them so much to come hunting over here. They
I
charge us
think
for
both of them are disgusting.
Yeah.
Because everybody in this room, I am very far from making my first $1 million.
We're close.
Yeah, we're working now.
We're close.
And the money, the money, both states. I'm not saying Mississippi's exempt from this. Both states for that hunting and fishing BS and upcharging. All it's hurting are
The
The
outdoors.
anglers.
Well,
Well, charter boat company.
it's hurting kids and people that maybe are less fortunate.
Right.
If you're in that pretty blackjack, I'm in that pretty Avenger. That amount of money for those licenses, it just stings. It's just offensive.
Yes.
And shame on them. Greed's a sin. Just a fair price, whatever. Everybody's it's America. We should be helping each other. I know
Correct.
we're looking for each other's help after the storms,
Yeah.
but when the fishing's good and the hunting's good, it's
Louisiana wants to get us fishing. We want to get them in hunting. So
I don't
that's
agree
where
with
we're
I don't
going.
agree with any of it.
Yeah.
But I had to pay it.
Right.
So,
Unfortunately.
so
Well, explain the difference. I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but explain the difference between your license chartering, running Louisiana for Mississippi. Is there any difference running overstate waters than coming here?
no. So all all of our boats are Mississippi licensed charter boats.
Right.
All of our guides are Louisiana licensed charter guides. Everybody pays the $2,000 for the.
Ooh.
Yeah, it stings. It's $2,000. I just paid it last week.
Wow.
$2,000. In addition, you still have to pay your fishing license, which is $120 now, and then in addition to that, your charter either has to have a valid Louisiana saltwater license or a charter passenger license.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So you got to buy a Louisiana charter license, you got to buy a Louisiana fishing license, and then the people on your boat have to buy a Louisiana fishing license.
Correct.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So, but where we are, and that's kind of a joke. Like, I live closer to Louisiana saltwater than most people in Louisiana.
Right. It doesn't make any sense.
Anyway, but whatever. That's above
Our pay grade.
Our pay grade.
Yeah.
So we'll take Bayou Caddy. If you go 4 miles south, you cross the intercoastal, you're in Louisiana. Like Half Moon, all that. That's
Right.
all Louisiana. And lately, now that they haven't opened the spillways, all that stuff to the west is fishy. So the Pearl and Wrigley's and all that. So if you go 7 miles west, that's the Pearl, you're also back in Louisiana. So we're kind of
Zigzag.
unless you want to turn left, any other direction, you got to go into Louisiana out of Bayou Caddy for the most part. So we go over there. The second you keep, well, now they're 13 inches. So let's just say the second you keep a 13.25-inch trout, your hopes of fishing in Mississippi are over. The second, well, it's nice now. They're both 15. The second you keep a 16.25-inch redfish, because it's legal in Louisiana, no go in Mississippi. So when you're
So that means you're in Louisiana. You cannot stop in Mississippi water.
Not one bit.
You have to go all the way back.
I've even spoken to agents and said, what are we talking about here? And one of them, who's a friend of mine, politely said, dude, if you got to take a leak, keep the boat in gear
And pee in the hole.
and you better not be hanging onto a fishing pole. Don't give us any reason.
Right.
Because that's the only way they can catch you.
Yeah.
Easily, I've got all the permits to do it. I could go sit out, on Taylor Reef and kill whatever's legal in Louisiana and just wait and run in. And when they stop you in the harbor, man, that was that eel of Pete. So the laws are there in place to stop bad people, just like
Right.
a lock keeps
Right.
it only
Right.
keeps honest people out.
Right.
You guys aren't doing that. That's your
No.
that's your livelihood.
One fish or one limit or 100 limits aren't worth the money I would make
right.
taking people day in and day out.
Dan said all thanks to the wind and tide's effect on a floating whiskey barrel. Isn't
Yeah.
that how they did it?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. They ran a dang whiskey barrel down
Yeah.
the Mississippi or the Pearl River,
Yeah.
and it came
Plotted it.
out. Yeah, and we
Man, I
lost,
wish they'd have given us
I
Half
know.
Moon. Just Half Moon.
we lost
Jesus.
chandelier and
Yeah.
everything.
Nobody knew that was happening. We couldn't stand next to the barrel and
Get-
sweep it one
get-
way or the other.
Give us a chunk.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Damn.
But the other problem, too, is that marsh out there. Have y'all been to Eel of Pete lately?
Oh, yeah.
Brush Island, Door
I haven't
Point.
been lately, probably about 2 years.
Brush Island's almost gone. Door Point's filed down. Eel of Pete, unless,
Just a bunch of shells.
man, if that.
It's sad 'cause that's the marsh disappearing.
Oh, man. I mean, it is whittling away.
Well,
Yeah.
we went. I went to the fishing banks a couple months ago, and they were just talking. They did the oyster report.
Man, those guys. That's Clarence and them
That's us.
Yeah, we're all a part of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Mississippi
yeah.
Gulf
With the-
Coast fishing banks.
with the reefs.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
good on y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Get us some stuff near shore.
That's what everybody's saying. So the problem is the space and everybody.
Yeah, we've
So-
done a couple episodes on it. I was like green. We didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
We sunk
You're like,
the
why
pokey
not
boat.
just do it?
Yeah.
That pokey boat, I
Saw
was
that.
on it when we
Yeah.
sunk it. I was sitting on, literally sitting on top of it.
They
when
put charges on it?
no,
No.
they got
Oh.
little
Go watch our video.
I would-
It's really cool.
little hatches.
Yeah, they cut holes into it, then patch
Yeah.
it with a board.
Oh.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Joey.
Yeah,
And then
so
they
I'm
remove the
walking around with a
boards.
GoPro, and I'm like, this is probably not good on any other day, and then water just
water
pouring
starts
in.
pouring in. They sink it, squat the ass first on this boat so that it won't roll. They don't want it to tip, so it sits right,
Yeah, they sink the stern first
and then it.
Man,
then it-
that's
because
fabulous.
it's a 60-foot boat. They sunk it in 55 foot of water, so they wanted a dang.
it's squatted first.
Yeah, they wanted to hit and then fall down so it doesn't tilt.
Mhm.
Huh.
It's cool. It was super cool.
Yeah,
Super
Um,
bless it.
Yeah, that near shore stuff.
Mhm.
Because see, we didn't have that stuff growing up. We didn't have Taylor Reef and Jailhouse and Caddy Reef.
Katrina Reef for us.
Katrina Reef. I've fished it once.
Yeah.
Hit or miss.
It was a miss,
Yeah.
but it was
For
fun.
me, it always is, but I think it's me.
Well,
I've heard stories.
Gene Taylor's better than Katrina, but
Yeah.
it's a different.
But
ball
my
game.
point is, those things, total game changers.
Oh yeah.
Total freaking game changers.
Mm.
And I mean, of course, if it was up to me, I'd line the entire coast in
Yeah.
rubble.
Well, the shrimpers would kill you.
But, and I get it, they got to work. We got to buy our bait from the shrimp guys. But we, if we could use like Alabama's model and just say, look, here's the Mississippi Sound chandeliers, whatever. We're still Mississippi Sound over here.
Mm-hmm.
Where do y'all not like to?
Yeah. Where y'all pulling? Where you not pulling?
I felt like with GPS the way it is nowadays, like we ought to be able to figure that one out.
Right.
I get it. I get a storm can move some shit, and and it's not where you thought it was, but like.
But you don't see many of them in that 4 to 5 foot of water off the beach.
Right.
Put
Well,
it where the kayak guys.
I
can
think
get
the
to.
problem with the shrimpers is like they said it on the news the other day. They're trying to get whatever they can.
Sure,
it's
those bastards.
dying.
Yeah,
Sure,
they're-
I'm saying they're
they're-
And the problem is you're not getting these younger generations.
Well, why?
No.
yeah,
why
they
would
said
you?
they-
Why would
yeah.
you? Yeah, why would you jump in there?
Oh, they're
because
crushing.
Why would you?
I mean,
yeah.
you got $5 fuel charge
Yeah.
on top of ice.
Didn't somebody once say that the price of shrimp is the same it was in the 70s or something?
I can't believe how cheap the price of
It's
shrimp is.
$3, $2.50, $3 a pound on jumbos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And who's going to go out there and sell that when you're burning $400, $500 worth of fuel?
Breaks your heart for those guys.
it does.
No,
It
no,
does.
no.
I mean, it's
look,
great for the consumer, but
I'm very pro shrimper, commercial fisherman. That's a lot of water.
They're not, but the Mississippi fishermen the shrimpers aren't pulling where we're fishing.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. They're not going that way.
Right.
Yeah.
They can't go right there.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure there's a lot more red tape for that nearshore
Oh,
stuff.
man,
It's
it's crazy.
traditional shrimping
just from what we
grounds.
heard,
Right.
in our limited experience of it, it's crazy. I wanted to ask you another question before we wrap things up. We covered a lot tonight. It was a great
Yeah.
conversation, man. But I think we skated over a good bit. I want to hear just your take from the green deckhand, in a couple of, like your experience there, and then the first time you ran like your trip as a captain. What was that like? That transition?
Scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
I used to have nightmares. Like I was never. I love scary movies.
Yeah.
To a fault. Like I'm addicted to them. And I never really, as an adult, have nightmares. I sleepwalking nightmares about running that boat in Venice.
you did then, or you still do now?
I did then.
Okay, yeah, like you talking about before you did your first trip, or
As I was transitioning.
Yeah,
Like my
learned a lot as a deckhand. I'm assuming, right?
I did, and
Yeah.
the best thing I ever did was jump from boat to boat.
learning
to boat.
different techniques, different.
Because each captain's different.
And you learn the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You're like, I will never do that, and I'm going to do that forever.
You mentioned me being a nurse anesthetist. That's how our training is. You go from different person to different person every day. You're with a different person, and it sucks for you because
Yeah.
yesterday this was a no-go
Right.
completely, and today it's like, why didn't you do that? It's like, well, yesterday you told me not to do that. But you get to learn a lot. Like I will, like you just said, I will never do it your
Yeah.
way, but I will definitely do it that way.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like what you did here, but I don't like, so it's actually, like you said, that was a benefit for you.
So it was good, honestly, and I don't have a problem saying it. I think I went in too early. I was running sport fishing boats. I grew up running center console boats. When I got there, they were nightmares. They were effing
They
nightmares.
still are.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. I'm doing a total refit on a 72.
And it was like having an apartment, a garage, a boat, a public bathroom that you all had to maintain, and all the fishing gear.
Just more to keep up with.
Yeah, and I wasn't familiar with. We had old crappy JRC radars. If you're fluent in it,
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, you can pull an ass off.
everybody was fluent in them, and then this the contender, I was leaving as the Freeman stuff was coming in. So it was Contender, Regulator, Glacier Bay, Twin V was big.
Yeah.
And they were getting all that really good.
Few yellow fins,
but they were getting all that good overlaid, Simrad, all that really, really good.
Structural, yeah.
All that good electronics.
A radar overlay,
Yeah, radar overlay. And so you were doing, this, look, it was like Pong, the old Atari Pong. You were looking at that, then you're looking at your GPS, then, you're trying to listen to the radio to see who's coming. That fog, I'm telling you.
I hate going down the river. I hate it. No,
you can't see from me to you when it's thick.
It's cold. There's logs. There's barges. Duck hunting. There's nothing good about going down the river.
You might as well put a curtain over you when
that's what I was going to say is, and I know I'm off the mic, but like when I went from running offshore sporties to the oil field, it was an old school radar that you put your face in.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, look, I worked for an old school captain. It was a clear blue day. And he put mattresses. I think I told you all this.
Yeah.
He pulled the mattresses from downstairs. This old school captain.
Yeah. JJ's giving us a story.
And throws them up in the windows, right? And he's like, drive me out of the river. And I was like, whoa.
Makes sense. Yeah. JJ said one of the old school captains that he worked with made him throw mattresses on a clear day in front of the windshield, so he'd have to learn how to. Pilots have to do the same thing. They have to be instrumentation certified.
One of the ball games, I got some buddies of mine that are actually doing the pilot program on the river.
Yeah.
They gotta like map the bottom.
No, I mean planes. Planes have to be instrument checked off at a certain level to where you can land a plane, take off without being able to see shit. So it's kind of the same thing.
But none of that is going to pick up a gigantic cypress log float down the river.
You can tune a radar into a quarter mile.
Yeah. What was your first trip as a captain solo? You're running the show. What boat did you run?
I ran the Sherry Lee, and I still fish the owner of it.
Give me the size.
So it was a 33 Blackfin, I think. It was a convertible. It was a pretty boat. It had Volvos. It was during May because we had had to pick up a guy at Jazz Fest, the decade.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this guy.
We stopped there. And we weren't boozing. He may have been. But I remember I was so nervous. I got out of bed and walked in the parking lot and threw up.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think my first trip I threw up for sure.
And
I think every captain does.
the fishing was not good. They're so good at it now. Like we were back then compared to what they are now. I think we were mediocre to good. I think they are just.
Well, technology's changed a whole much.
Who is that? Who is they?
The fleet.
Okay, your fleet. You work with?
Yeah, we were good. We were killers.
Yeah.
But
in Venice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to think you run out what 42, 46-foot Freeman.
Well, they're fast. They're
Yeah,
getting
they can go
an extra.
No. Yeah. It's as apples to orange.
But we weren't.
sense.
You were going out there with a dozen baits. You weren't catching 400, baits or anything like that.
Right.
Those
But-
guys nowadays are just like the kids. Like I got a mate right now that's 27 years old,
Mhm.
and this dude is lights out. Like I'm going, dude, where did you learn that at? Like
Mhm.
he's throwing the net on and he's catching 400 pogies. He's like, no, don't stop here, Cap. Keep going. I'm driving.
Yeah.
All right, throw the net. And
Well, I mean, you
it's
usually
night
just
and day.
you
Those
stop in the
guys-
river and catch your bait, mullet or
No,
whatever.
you go to the rigs, and that was
y'all were doing hardtails.
your mate. If they couldn't throw the net or run a sabiki,
Yeah.
Cut 'em.
no use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running cup bait.
Do you think your clientele that day, the first day, knew you were that nervous?
I knew them.
Okay. That's-
Coincidentally,
is that better or worse?
Worse.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It
Yeah.
wasn't a
Worse.
good
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
It caught a bunch of tiny blackfin
Were y'all trolling?
Yeah.
Trolling around rigs?
trolling around a drill ship,
Yeah.
trolling around a drill ship, catching. I mean,
Dinks.
Yeah.
dinks.
I mean, blackfins.
No, these guys and
Oh, they
these-
were seasons?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, and I see a couple of them several times a year, and now
Everybody,
I
don't forget
hey, everybody has to start somewhere.
That's right.
Right.
Jimi Hendrix was a backup guitar player at one point.
Well,
right,
and
he was still good, but
the guy that trained me, Scott, I mean, he was one of those guys, whatever. He's like, we're going to catch a limit of 20-pound snappers today. And it's like, Scott, we've been tuna fishing for the last month. I know, but I'm pretty sure I know where they are. And he would go do it. I'm going to catch a limit of gag groupers today. And you're like, when have we haven't caught
fished gag groupers since last year.
Yeah.
Right. And he would do that. And you know,
the fish whisperer.
Towards the end of my time down there, all he did was troll. That was all he wanted to do. And
For tuna, marlin, striper,
marlin.
yeah.
And they whacked him with none of this fancy stuff they have now. He just gut instinct.
Well, you know, like the tournaments nowadays that we're fishing, we're entering these tournaments and they have a sonar division.
Yeah.
Right.
The 72 Viking that I run has a sonar in it. But then you have a whole other division that's a non-sonar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of these kids that run these sonars, you're like, dude, you couldn't tie your shoes 2 years ago. You're running the sonar.
Yeah.
Well, they played video games. JJ said some of
Yeah.
these tournaments now have sonar divisions,
Oh, yeah.
non-sonar divisions. Yeah, they've been playing damn Fortnite, you know,
Yeah,
7 days a week
game.
since it was
When I started, we were
old enough to walk.
Loran C.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this will be a good story for you. So my man Scott, and he's moving here. He's moving here to Pass Christian. So I get to fish with my old buddy.
Not here, but
Not here, like an hour away.
Yeah,
like 2
yeah.
hours away.
Not near
away.
Disneyland or wherever we're by.
I'm
not Mobile.
I'm oriented now, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So he got very religious it still is. Just left for a couple days for bad weather, and we come back and we're pulling wrenches I told this story the other day. I got to giggling. I'm pulling wrenches in the engine room, and you know, we had a couple beers laid out, and I, you know, lifted up through the hatch, and he's like, "Man, I quit." I was like, "You didn't quit."
Bullshit. Yeah.
And he's like, "I quit," and he did. He did.
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right." He says, "Man, I found the Lord, or saved, or born again, whatever the
Respect that. Yeah.
whatever the
It's
correct
like,
term
hey,
is."
Jesus turned water into wine, but I'm not judging you.
Right.
Do you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I don't know what to tell
And
you.
he
I don't know
says,
what to tell you.
I'm gonna read the Bible every night, and we lived on this boat at that time. That was the first year, and he said, "I'm gonna read it. You're welcome to read it with me." And he goes, "But I just want you to know, we're gonna pray every morning before every trip."
Do that.
And I said,
Can't hurt.
That's a good idea.
I said, I still say the same prayer every day.
Yeah.
Anybody's ever fished with me has heard, and I'll say it for you here in a second. To
Hopefully,
illustrate the
Facebook
story.
and YouTube don't shut us down for
It's all
praying.
right.
No,
Let 'em
I'm
do it.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, and it was going good. And so this is back in the rod and reel, Mike Lane's days. Well, Scott, man, when he goes in, he's all in. So he's doing his posts and he's quoting scripture and, you know, very religious implications in his posting. Inadvertently, he starts attracting church crowd. I mean, if you're into marlin,
When in
you're
Rome.
Yeah.
right, you're into
Yeah.
marlin
Birds.
fishing, right?
Yeah, birds.
Disney World or wherever we're at.
Right.
So we start getting a lot of these church groups, and he's cool with it, man. He's up in the bridge talking about this, and he's happy, man. It was some of the happiest I've ever seen him. And you know, I'm in the back. I was still decking for him his first year. Fog comes in, and we've got the preacher's wife, preacher's kids.
Please start praying. Please start praying.
Look.
I'm thinking this might go a different way, but go ahead.
No, please start praying.
So shut out fog, and yet if you've never left Venice Marina,
It's the worst.
when you pull out there in a Tiger, I always compare it to a scene from Star Wars with the, you know, and there's 4 million boats, sizes, airboats, and so we start leaving the fuel dock, and I mean it's terrible, and you can hear them. You can hear the horn. Oh, this is what kills me. You can hear the horns. You can hear the boats. You could hear the boats idling. You could hear the boats hooked up. You know. So we started the prayer. Here it goes. Dear Lord, we come to you again today asking for safety, happiness. If it's in your will, a bountiful catch. Keep us safe, keep us smiling. If you could, bunch of big edible hard pullers for everyone. while we're out there, please keep all our stuff working nice and smooth. Any bad weather, rough seas, bugs, rain, wind, injury, illness, please keep it away from us. Safe return for everybody. And while we're out there, please watch over our friends, family, loved ones, even our enemies. Thank you, Lord. Amen. I've said that prayer every day for like 20 years, close to it.
It's a good one.
Because of Scott. That's not me. I'm just taking that. Hang on, because we're about to take a terrible turn.
That's where I thought it was going.
So we're getting there, and look, I'm sitting on the back of the transom like I always did. I think we're rigging ballyhoos or spinning wire for Wahoo or something. And I kind of sort of know where I'm at. And when you get there, and the it used to be when I was there, the commercial dock was the last thing you went by before you made the turn.
Going out of South Pass?
Going out of Venice Marina.
Oh, yeah.
So
you got the old Chevron dock, and you got the old, what y'all call them, commercial dock, and the old fuel dock right there.
yeah, so
On the north side.
I knew when I could hear like the compressors, I think I was hearing or seeing an outrigger or something, and I was like, "Ooh, we're about to get out of here." Ooh. And what are you going to say to a guy praying? Wrap it up.
Yeah.
And he's got the preacher crew, so they're all into it, man. And I told you I wasn't going to cuss on your show.
No, you can't.
No, I'm not. I'm still not going to do it.
You.
You're going to get it.
Yeah.
So, and he's sitting there, and the ending of it is, please watch over our friends, family, loved ones, even our enemies. Right, and it's just timed perfectly. Right as we clear the mouth of Venice Marina, this freaking mullet boat. Like, I kind of looked around the boat, and it looked like he went under the pulpit. It was that close. And you feel the waves, and he goes, please watch over our friends, family, loved ones, even our enemies. Thank you, Lord. Amen. UGD. And look, he let every one of them.
Yes.
And look, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, don't laugh. Don't laugh.
The preacher's blushing.
Yes.
And look, the preacher's next to him just,
I'm going to pray for you.
Well, look, the kids are right next to me, and I wasn't doing anything. This wasn't my mess. And look, they do after he put out the 15th vile curse word, yay! And
Thank you, Jesus.
around, look, he goes, preacher, I'm a work in progress, man. Let me get us out of here safe. He spins that wheel. Oh, man. I love that guy.
That's where I thought it was going, except I thought it was going to be because of the weather or something. That was a good one.
Every captain has had that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And
Especially if you've run out of Venice.
But he handled it well. I'm a work in progress. And next time, all you have to do if you want to interrupt, just say, the Lord has compelled me to tell y'all to slow down, speed up, take a left, take a right.
And it would, he was, the GD, I think, is what put it over
the Lord
edge.
was working in mysterious ways.
Oh, man. It was a beautiful one.
Yeah.
That's good shit. Well, I don't know what better way to wrap this one up.
Yeah,
than that one right there. What if people are interested? They like the show. What they've heard so far. How do they reach out to you or your crew? What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, we're
with you
not
guys?
hard to find.
I've already dropped in the comments of the show, and I'll have it linked in the audio. A link to your Facebook page for sure thing, and also to the website as well.
That's the easiest way. If they want the old phone, the office phone, 228-342-2206. If they prefer a text, 228-342-2295, and email, Facebook.
Just depends on who's on call that day.
Who's on call? If we don't get you, leave that message. Somebody will call you back or text you back or email you or messenger, whatever the smoke signal, whatever we're doing these days, we'll get it.
Well, we appreciate the pilgrimage that you made to get over.
What time is it here?
It's tomorrow. Actually. Yeah. Oh no! Speaking of that, though, I just saw we can't wrap it up without you telling us about this.
Yeah. Tell us about your.
Oh yeah,
I just saw it in the
right here.
when we switched the video.
So this is my daughter's enterprise. She does.
There you go.
You
right
see
there.
that?
Yep, that's the camera. Yep.
So most people don't know that's the inside of a hardhead catfish, and then another religious implication to it. She makes those and puts them on driftwood, oysters, all that good stuff.
All different kind of backgrounds.
Yeah, they're actually, if anybody way back in Bay St. Louis, it's Social Chair on Main Street. It's the shop that's carrying them now. They used to be at Art Alley in the past, and Miss Beth, who we love dearly, she retired and moved to Texas to be with the grandbabies.
Can't blame her for that.
But the story's really cool. So very quick, it's and it's on the card I gave you. But I think of all the creatures in the sea, the catfish is the lowliest, most looked down upon, and that's the fish that needed God's help the most. So he imprinted Jesus on it. So yeah, we harvest and find catfish skulls and put them in traps, and then we go either beg barring, stealing oysters or driftwood and putting them on that.
Well, we know a fisherman who runs a YouTube channel as well, Josh Harmon. That's all he can catch is catfish. So we can connect y'all to him and get you a lot of
He's
profit.
very holy.
He's got some stock.
That's all he can catch.
Your daughter's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, she's
a
a hustler.
slinging them, right?
She's a hustler, man. I'm very, very proud of her, and it's cool. It's just something we get to do together. And the Miss Yuki who runs the social chair, she's a super cool lady that's very big into business and very. She's a role model, so it's cool that we kind of got both them teamed up, and I just like spending time with the little.
It's awesome,
little booger.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what do you do? Like wade trips or stuff like that, where you go with her, or y'all just walk the beach, or figure out what?
We do it all, man. We love walking the beach. It's just finding the time, but we'll take 1 or 2 days out of the year in the summer when I either get done early, we have a cancellation, and I will go kill as many of those things as I can.
For Jesus.
I have a special track.
For Jesus.
For Jesus, yes.
For
Amen.
Jesus. Yeah.
I love it.
Nobody's going to hate you for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. There's no reason to. Well, look, Captain Sonny, we appreciate you coming in, sitting with us tonight, making the trek over here, man. It was a great conversation, great story.
Yeah.
Love what
we'll
you're doing.
get a GoFund for the way home.
Hopefully some people will donate for that. But the comments were coming through all night long. Everybody enjoying the episode.
Wonderful.
So we appreciate that. Thanks everybody for listening on the lives and the replays, and then checking us out on the audio side of things. Click them links, man. Book a trip with them. Go have a conversation with them and catch some fish. So what do we got coming up? I know we're about to wrap up the year, man. 2023 is about to be
we
done.
got one more. We got the Baheo sunglass guy, and then
we're gonna have to do a year-end closeout. We'll get JJ to show up again.
Yeah.
We'll get some people, and
y'all got me till about January 10th.
that's plenty enough time, JJ. Johnny, we appreciate you watching and checking out the show and the comment and everything. Everybody was in the comments tonight, so it was a good one, man. We knew this was gonna be cool. So if y'all keep tuning in, we'll keep doing it.